people walk around every day and don't realise that there are people with them. And I was like, actually, I know what you're on about. I've seen ghosts around people. I know what you mean. He went, not ghosts, David. He said to me, there are demons walking around. Bear in mind, I can do trance now and show you my family because they're always with me, or my angel guy. But I can't show you your family until they appear. And then I'll go, oh, he's quite strong, this man. He must have been a big... And I'll start talking about it. And when he's that strong next to me, I know he can step into me and show himself. You know what I mean?
Look at that. And it's like, they're saying, look, that this is the main reason why I'm doing this now, is because they're saying, look, I'm so sorry.
Like, oh, I'll give 20 things to this person. And it was just a load of madness, all of it. But what you don't realise is that person who wants to desperately know that there's a real afterlife, you say Freddie Mercury or one or two things and they go, it has to be. That man could have said anything in the whole world, but he said that. So even that alone is hope, is helping, is enough, and we have to take pride in that.
Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Drake Michigan podcast. And boy, have we got a special one coming up for you today. This has the potential to be something special. Because today we've got a subject close to my heart, and I know Anthony is really intrigued with it all. And we have the marvellous Dave Spirit, who's travelled over from Liverpool to share his extraordinary life and his experiences. And we're going to dive right in and learn everything we can and share it with you, the viewers. So let's buckle up and let's get it going.
I'm just going to sit back and let you two talk.
Dave, how are we doing?
Very good. Very good.
I want to just jump straight in. Mm-hmm. Let's just go straight into the afterlife. Mm-hmm. Let's go straight into you visiting the afterlife. Mm-hmm. Did you die?
Yeah, so... You want me to start?
Yeah, come on.
So when I was a teenager, I got my first finance card. That's how that started. I'd had multiple experiences before that, but I got my first finance card. It was a Ford Fiesta, amazing I thought it was. I think it was 18 at the time. And I was at basically a house party. I'd had the car for about a week, and we decided to go back towards where I live, which is about a 20-minute drive away. We come down these winding roads, and I'll be honest, I was speeding quite a bit recklessly, and it was icy. And at the time, I thought I was a fantastic driver, but I wasn't. And I've come round the bend, and as we come round the bend, there was just like a grass verge, and then we got trees on the side of it, and then houses. And then as we come round the bend, the car started to slide. But as the car started to slide, I've sort of like had a weird, I don't know how to explain, like a weird out-of-body experience straight away, but I was still in the vehicle, I was still conscious of everything going on. There was 3 girls in the back and my male friend in the front. Okay. None of us had seatbelts on or nothing like that. Okay. As the car, I've realised I've lost the car, I can't get it back because it's gone out of control. It's fully slid like that towards the banking and the trees. Time I sort of like slowed down immediately. And I was conscious, so I'm still thinking the same way I'm thinking now, but time's going slower. And it must have took about 45 minutes to hit the car. It felt like that. It felt like I had a day in me to watch this. And while it's happening, I had this sort of like euphoric feeling inside of me. It started in my stomach. It felt like it felt like something better was there. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to sort of put into physical words, but it was like a peaceful state, like I was quite depressed and different things before this was going on. So to have this subtle change straight away, it was like everything was fixed again, everything was better again. So I sort of dived deeper into it and wanted to think, well, what's going on? But I kind of in the back of my head, it's like my subconscious knew what was happening all the whole time. So as this is happening, I've sort of got my face to the left as the car's sliding, and I can see the tree coming for us. And as I've got my hand on the steering wheel, there was music blasting and stuff like that, but the music's like weird noises. And I'm thinking of all these things, like what's going on and why is the music like that? And then it started trickling into my brain, like my sister, a kid, stuff like that. My mum, who was alive at the time, my dad, stuff like that. And I was thinking like, well, what's going to happen? Because I knew something inside me was this is my time, I'm going to die. And I'd accepted it. Because I had such a darker life before it, I was sort of like, well, this is great, you know what I mean? This feeling, I want to stay with this feeling. And as we still continued to slide, it was literally like fragments moving, the car sliding. And I was thinking all about what's going to happen to me, what's going to happen to them. They need me. I had this overwhelming feeling that I can't go anywhere because they need me for some reason, which I suppose they didn't really. And and as I thought all these thoughts, I'd sort of, each one that come into my consciousness, I'd sort of thought of it, then settled it and released it, thought of it, settled it, released it, like that. And then you would think the people in the car would be screaming their heads off or something like that, but I don't know what they were doing, but they were quiet, it was slow motion.
Yeah.
And then as we finally, the next bit I remember is as I finally come to the tree, I knew, like, in my brain that it was about to happen now. I didn't know what was going to happen, I just knew the car was going to hit the tree. And then as it's literally that close, I can physically see the oak on the bark on the tree. It was dead close to me. The car basically wrapped around the tree. There was a big, massive bang, and as the car's I felt like a weird sensation where it floated this way. The car started to bend, and then after that, it was like I just blinked in a blink of an eye. I felt like a lift, like someone yanked me or something like that. And then I was in this white place, like absolutely unbelievable place. When I've gone there, you've got to remember, I knew where I was. So even though I wasn't saying, oh, I'm in heaven, it wasn't like that. I just knew I was there. I knew it was the afterlife. Yeah, it was like a all-knowing, all-seeing, if you want to say that. What was weird is, people, when I communicate with spirit now as a medium, people know that when I do, I'll say this person was there for them and stuff like that. We always have people who come for us and help us. But when I experienced this, there was nobody there. No one was there saying, "Hi, son," or anything like that. It wasn't like that. I was just there on my own, and my thoughts were drifting to where am I, and it was like my body was glowing, like I had this euphoric, one of the best, like, drug, if you want to say it, one of the best feelings I've ever experienced in my life. Yeah. So I was happy now, and I was like, oh, thank God, everything's better again in life, and everything's good. And I was sort of looking around. It was like there wasn't no physical objects there, so there was nothing to say there was a line, there was a table. It wasn't nothing like that. It was just like, not even like a spooky mist. It was more just like when you look at the lights, it was like a glow. But when I decided, am I really here? I looked down and there was nobody there. I wasn't standing there no more. So, but I actually was there. So it's hard to get your mind to understand.
Do you think then that is your consciousness of you, what was actually back in with energy then? Yeah. Because I think I could relate to that, because for me, when you make sometimes connections and also when experiences, one of the ways I've described it is, it's like literally going into that light now. Yeah. So you've got that white light, and it's almost like your essence, your consciousness goes into the light, exactly, and then you are with the light. Yeah. You are the light. Yeah. You are everything. Yeah. So there is no feeling of anger or rejection. There's no feelings. There's there is nothing. Yeah. So and that's where I can understand where people say, we are everything. Yeah. So that's interesting.
It was also as well when I was there, because it felt like I was there for it felt like half an hour. It was a long time I was there, but in reality, the whole car crash, everything was probably about 10 seconds or something. Yeah. It was also like, when I was there, I was thinking to myself, well, what if I want to go back? Maybe I don't want this. And I also know now that that's where we get like ghosts and spirits and the difference between them. Because I knew then that if I reject this and don't go forward wherever I want to go, then I can turn around. And I knew in my mind that I could go back to where I was. Right. But I also know now, as I've developed into a medium and learn different things, that's where ghosts come from. So they can't get the body back, but they still want to appear. Now the consciousness says I have got my body, like the same way when I looked down there was no one there, but I could still somehow feel it and see it. I knew I was walking.
But you knew you were you.
I knew I was still me, just like this now. But there was nobody there. But it was weird to explain. But I've learned now through seeing spirit, communicating with spirit, that's what they are. You know what I mean? They are all-knowing, all consciousness. Yeah. And I've learned through time slowing down on different things, through them educating me on it, giving me downloads, that when I say to someone, look out for this in 2 days' time or something, it's because if you think about it, through my experience of time slowing down, they're already in the future. They already know what's happening, because they're already days ahead of us, through art. So I sort of say, as a rough estimate, like every 30 minutes that goes by in our world could be like a day in their world, you know what I mean?
Do you think, just what's called, so looking at, do you think that's probably where whoever wrote like the film, say like Inception, where they've brought in the consciousness?
Well, it's a good point you mention this, because there's a few films I've watched where I've just thought, that's a bit weird. How did they come up with that? Where did they come up with that from?
Well, there must be somebody who's got these experiences or sharing them, like yourself. Exactly. I mean, even like if you take Harry Potter, right? So when he dies, and he's having a chat with the wizard, and he says, "Where are we?" And he says, "Well, we're on King's Cross Station." Yeah. He said, "Well, you can be wherever you want to be, because you're in the white energy, the white buzz." Yeah. And when he dies, that's where he is. He's in the buzz of the energy. And he says, "Well, what do you want to do?" And he said, well, you can go back or you can go on. Now, that's up to you. And I remember a time when my dad had passed over, and he shared a story, and so basically he was visited by different friends and everything else, and they said to him, "It's not your time yet. You need to go back." And he was like, "All right, okay." But I've heard many people talk about this, where it's like, "Look, you need to go back," But I think there's also a bit of a choice. Like, you don't have to.
Yeah.
You can if you want to just leave it, you can go. So it's again.
I think if you remember how I explain to people, it's the conscious that lives on. It's the same as how you remember them. They're just more knowing and enlightened now, if you want to say that. So they'll say, "Oh, I did this in my life and I learned that it was wrong and stuff." So they're just a better version of themselves. But if you think about it like that, we're basically, we're basically. I'm getting lost.
Nice, okay.
Yeah. We're basically the consciousness is living on, like I said. That I'm getting blank mind.
Well, I would say, let me just jump in there, because so if we bring in like the fourth and the fifth dimensions, right? Now, I'm no expert on this, but I can understand, like, when you're in that buzz of light, white energy. I could understand that being where people might say that's the fifth dimension or something, because you can be anything and anywhere simultaneously. And I'm a big believer where if I say to people, I would say energy is intelligence. Intelligence is energy, right? And so basically energy knows everything.
Yeah.
As far back as you want to go, and probably as far forward as you want to go. And this is why I think when you give people readings, you can sort of tell them 6 months in advance or something like that. And because all the energy you've done in your life has already created what's going to probably happen in the next 6 months.
Good point.
There's not much you can do, because, and this is why a good thing with the manifestation thing. So people say after a couple of weeks, nothing's happening, nothing's working. And you say, but hold on, you've been feeling lack and negative for the last 10 years.
Exactly, yeah.
Right, so what we need to, and I can back this up as well. So I remember Grandma coming through with a message from Spirit, and this was back in the day when we'd lost all the bakeries and the businesses and everything else. And she come through and she said, "Kev, we are filling the holes in this side of Spirit. The holes that you've dug, you're in so much shit, like kind of thing. But we need to fill these now." Right, and what she's saying is, so much of the future now you're going to have to go through, but we're trying to clear a better way forward for you.
Yeah.
But you're going to have these, and this is as well when I say to people, by no means is it an easy journey. If you want to change your life, the first few months, even the first 12 months, might get worse. Yeah. You might end up losing your girlfriends, your friends. Yeah. I mean, Dean, don't forget, Dean died. My mate died. But for 12 months, when he told me, I was surprised. And also, when I got told, I thought, he don't fucking die now, right? I just thought this is the universe saying to him, you said you wanted a life change, unfortunately.
There you go.
This is what people don't know, and we were on also with that, where you're asking your angels to step in. When I first did that, and I heard about it, I thought, we'll give it a go, and if I'm supposed to be a medium, it'll happen for me. But we don't realise that. We think we've got these perfect lives and everything's good, and nothing can take that away from us. But we don't realise that it might mean that certain people have to leave your life, and it could be the people you love the dearest, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like once you do it and you go through that sort of breakdown, and then you're on a blank page again, what was meant for you, what you were meant to come in and do, starts easily coming to you, doesn't it?
That's a good way of putting it.
Because the thing is, energy is for everything. If we looked at life in the form of vibrations, frequencies, light, from that point of view. If you've got someone who you used to hang around with at the pub all the time, and you would basically tell each other stories every night how shit your life was, right? And then suddenly you get a job and you start earning a bit of money, then suddenly, where's such and such today? Oh, he's at work. And who's going to talk to me in the pub? No, because your energy's changed. And then what happens is when you change your energy, what happens is new people come into your life.
It's frequencies and vibration, isn't it? And you attract certain vibration. You're releasing a load of stuff.
And then the thing is, in a way, what you want to do is you want to try and understand that, look, you need to separate from your old, but do it in a nice way, if you like. It's almost like you say to him, listen, I've got other things on in my life, But the only thing is, your people on that vibration will look at you differently. They'll, who do you think you are? You're better in yourself. Are we not good enough for you?
That's true.
And you have to go through all that
They want to cling on. They want to bring you back down.
Of course they do. And this is why people end up getting pulled back into their comfort zone, because as soon as you start to stretch and come outside what feels natural to you, it's easier to just shrink back.
Yeah, I always say again, be prepared before you say these words. You think the words just mean nothing, and you're fine to think that way, but just believe that when this does happen, they do start working for you immediately. You just accept it and be prepared to let them people leave. You're this new person now, so forget the old you. You know what I mean? And fully embrace it. The more you do, the more you'll get.
Yeah. And I mean, 100%. And the thing is, once you're on, like you said, once you start following your true calling and your true path. You wait till you see the doors were open. It just unexpectedly. It just was. But then I always say to people as well, like The Secret was good in a way. The book The Secret, it was fantastic in the way it woke a lot of people up to manifestation, all that. But then what happened is as well, it had a negative way. People thought they could sit on a couch, ask for the lottery, and it was just going to come.
It's going to come now.
It's going to come. But also, then people went a little bit deeper, and then what they'd do is they'd say, I want financial abundance, right? And I've seen this happen. I've seen people ask for financial abundance and then 2 weeks later be in a car crash and get paid out $3,000.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I've actually done this similarly. A couple of weeks ago, I was like, I'd like to have some kind of financial help. Maybe I could win the lottery. And I said those words, and it was from a heartfelt moment. So I knew it was going to happen, but I thought to myself, well, we'll see. But a lot of people mistaken it. So I won a free lucky dip. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But people think, well, I've asked to win the lottery. Yeah, I did win a free lucky dip. So technically, I did win it.
Yes.
But I didn't win £1 million. But you don't realise, so be intentional with the words you use.
It's very specific. And
when we go deeper into that topic, if you like, that's what you show people, that's what you teach them, and you say, look, there's some, because ultimately, if you think about words, words are man-made. They're like from Hebrew and all, it's spelling. But when you get into alchemy and you get into law of attraction and manifesting stuff, it's all about feeling. And it's about, so you could sit here and say, I want to win the lottery, but if you're giving out a feeling of, I'm skint and I've got nothing and I'm black and I've got a crap car and I've got a crap house, and guess what's going to come? So you've crossed over, you've seen this light. Did anything happen while you were over there? Did anybody contact with you?
No, this is the thing. I was asking, why is there nobody? Because I assumed there would be loads of people. God, if you want to say that anything, I'd never experienced it before. And as I sort of looked into the distance, there was people there. I knew there was people there, even though I couldn't physically see them. But while I was there was lots of stuff that happened. Like, so as I was saying, I thought I could turn back and now go back to help people and stuff, but I knew my body wouldn't be there. It was like someone was automatically telling me, you can come forward or you can go back, but these are the results of what's going to happen. But yeah, while I was there, it was more just, I was more mesmerised by the feeling of all-knowing God, if you want to say that. Not like I physically seen something, but I just knew. You just knew. That was more mind-bending than anything else. But what happened actually after that is I was there, and then the next minute, it's like I blinked while I was there, and I was back in the car, but I was sort of just like rattling like that. The music was blasting. So my first thought, because I was all there, is turn the music off, it's too loud. And I was now wrapped around the tree, and I heard a few groans from the back, and one of the girls had hurt the side of the leg. But other than that, no one had belts on, no one was harmed, no one had a cut on them, no bruises, no nothing. And if you think about it, if I've hit the tree that way, my body naturally with no belts on. There was loads of space, could have just gone that way. But why didn't I have a bruise or a mark?
That's unreal.
But the thing is, like, someone could fall off a curb and kill themselves, and then you can be in a high speed. So then you start thinking, was it fate? This is not my time. This is.
But you made a decision, though, didn't you, to go back?
Yeah, I knew though that I could have gone forward, but I just decided that I was happy with this. I wasn't scared, nothing like that. But it was like, I believe to this day that someone unconsciously told me, it's not your time, you're going back. Because I've had other experiences where I've nearly passed through my own self and it's not happened, and I've been like, why the fuck didn't that work? You know
do you think, just opening up the thing, do you think, like, let's say part of you decided at that time, like, I'm going to carry on, I'm going to go into the light, I'm going to go that way, but your body was still okay in this world, do you think that would be a perfect opportunity for someone to do a soul jump?
Well, now that's funny you should say this again. Synchronicities again. Good point. It was only 2 days ago when I was thinking about this, and I was thinking to myself, I wonder if, because we know the multiple universe theory and stuff like that, I thought, I wonder if technically I did leave that day, and that was me dying. But
We've had
I
these
jumped into
conversations,
another
haven't we?
body, and that person lived on and become this person.
We've had these conversations.
No, and I'll tell you for why. Because you'll hear stories as well where people will say, God, his personality's changed. That's not in him anymore. Yeah. Now, it's the physical body, but maybe not the spiritual soul behind the body. It's somebody else.
Oh,
now, and then what happens
is
people jump in, and then what happens is they fall out with the wife, they go and meet some, because don't forget, that's not their soulmate anymore, who they were with. This is a new soul who's jumped into a body.
Oh,
so you're just opening up all these.
It's the part where it starts getting so deep you have to be prepared.
Yeah, you have to pull that.
It's great.
It's so intriguing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So let's go back to your childhood. Mm-hmm. Okay, so would you say you had a good childhood, a happy childhood, or?
Not really, no. It was sort of there's a lot of violence in my childhood, and yeah, it sort of like led me a different way. But I say I came out the womb as a loving man. You know what I mean? I was never this violent man. It was never in me. But I came out the womb like that, as I say. But it's the way things happened. Obviously, there was a lot of trauma. You know, I'm talking like 5 years old onwards, even through high schools, like a lot of people do. You get bullied and different things like that. But it never stopped for me, you know what I mean? It felt like every day was violence. Not horrific violence, but beatings and things like that.
So, is it the old saying where you're like, fucking hell, everywhere I go, trouble follows me?
Yeah, and that's why I say, I used to think I was cursed. I thought my life was just cursed, and I couldn't understand why I was, you know what I mean?
No, because I think so many people, because I can relate to that, and I think so many people will. And also I think a lot of people who go in certain journeys and my mum who said to me yesterday, she went, I hate that when you say I'm awake or whatever, because what are you saying about the rest of us? We're fucking asleep. And I said to her, I said, I'm not being funny, Joe. You are asleep. Right? And she went, what do you mean? I said, because you don't look at the world. We're looking at the same world, but I look at it completely different to you. Right? Because I know that, because I look at the world different now than when I was 27.
Because you're looking at through real eyes.
And so then when you look back, you probably find a lot of people, I don't know if this was the same for yourself, they never had much interest at school. They sort of had to just half asleep through it, or they would cause trouble. They also have a feeling of, when you were younger, it's just a little spark inside where you feel a bit different. Or you feel like, look, I'm here for a mission. You don't know what it is yet, but I'm here to do something, but I just don't know what it is. Now, obviously, to an outsider, they'll be like, you arrogant little shit, right? But you're like, no, I don't mean it like that. I just
you just know.
I just don't get why you're all running around doing a job and all. I just don't get it. There's got to be.
Always notice there's a weird one in the friends or something, or the quiet one, the one who sits in the corner, doesn't drink, you know, or whatever, doesn't get involved and stuff. It's normally that one.
And also as a kid,
that's right.
I don't know if you have this. It's like I have little things, and like I remember going out for the day. My mum and my auntie, and I would have only been young, like 7 or 8, and basically I was singing the songs before they come on the station, right? And they were like, how the fucking hell do you know what's going to come on? And I was like, I don't know. It just, and little things like that. But when you're growing up, it's almost like you have a knowledge or knowing. Or like when people say, have you been here before? Have you done it before? It's almost like...
Because we have.
Well, maybe.
I'll tell you a quick little story. My first ever memory of any kind of ghost or apparitions, anything like that, residual energies, you want to call it. I was in my bed, and I used to sleep in a single bed, and my brother was in the other side, and then I had 2 sisters. They were in their own bedroom, and there was sort of like a stairway in the house we were living in. I dropped like a hallway, and then it goes up like that, and then we had our bedrooms, my mum and dad's bedroom. And my sister is actually clairvoyant and psychic, but she's very scared of it. So to her, she's had many experiences herself, but she refused to open up to it or even understand. Then she had kids and stuff like that, so she wasn't bothered anymore. But it was actually her who woke me up. I don't remember my age. I must have been about 5, but I remember how tall I was. I was only little. And she woke me up and said to me, David, there's 2 people on the landing. And I'd never seen nothing or experienced nothing before at this time. I was still thinking about, you know, Cartoon Network and stuff like that. And so I've gone, what do you mean? And then she said, come on, pulled me hand up, and we've gone to the hallway. And there was like almost like there was a little boy and a little girl, remember? And that was my first memory. They sort of like holding hands and swinging around each other and dancing, but clear as day, not a spooky apparition. It wasn't like that. It was like 2 children were actually on the landing. And we were I wasn't like terrified, but I was just more interested in what are they doing? Are they our friends? Have they sneaked in our house or something like that? And then my sister was terrified at the time, and she said, "Go and get me dad dead quick." So I've run in the bedroom, woke him up, and my dad sort of just come stumbling out and said, "What's wrong?" And then I said, "There's 2 people," and he thought it was a burglary or something.
Right.
And then as he's come out the bedroom, he's gone, "Show me where they are." And I've gone there, and I was literally nearly touching her head where it was, and he went, "There's nobody there," you know what I mean? And he went, "Oh, you're just dreaming." But I still sneaked up in the night. I was just still looking at. They were still there. They were laughing. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Clear as day. But that was my first ever memory of it. So if you can think at 5 years old, it becomes normal to you then. So when you start seeing these things, you don't go, "Ooh, what's that?" It's just like
interesting. There, Dave. So when you saw these apparitions, if you like, was they apparitions that would talk back with you, or were they sort of in their hologram of their world?
They were in a hologram. It was like we weren't there. So
it's almost like they're still living their residue energy of their lifetime and everything, isn't it? And we'll talk about this later, because I've got a few things to share about that what I'm interested about. But so I get that. So even though you could see them, you probably could have just walked straight through them, and they would have just carried on. And
well, later down the line, I've seen hologram things where you can sort of see through them, can't you? But the physical, that one was a bit different, and I don't know why. So they were more, the clothes felt real, like I could touch them.
Right,
so I don't believe I could have walked through them, but I don't know why. You know what I mean? Well, I've never really seen anything like that again in that way. I've seen apparitions and ghosts, but in a hologram way.
Do you think it were? Do you think maybe it was maybe that was their home, their house?
Possibly, yeah. Well, that house was very old, so
maybe you know, because obviously you could imagine the energy being stronger in their home, if you like. So, was there anything in your grandparents or going back where there was anything like, you know, sometimes people have gypsies in the family. Do you have anything like that?
Well, since a year and a half ago when I first decided, I believe I was born this way, but once I started acknowledging my gift and using it, I vastly quickly learned a lot of stuff. So I did do like an ancestry before it, and then it said I was, I think it was 89% Irish or something, which I didn't even know, you know. My nan and granddad came, or I think it was my nan and granddad came from Ireland on one side, the others it was their mum and dad, but they never spoke about it. They didn't have Irish accents, nothing like that. And then when I was talking to my mum about it, because me and my mum didn't really talk a lot years ago, we stopped for a while, but she opened up and told me that it was her nan called Kitty who used to do tea leaves and stuff like that. And my mum's mum used to go to spirits churches when we were kids and stuff like that, but never really, they all believed in it, but it was like they never spoke about it to each other, or I never heard them, you know.
So, because again, you normally find there's always like, you know, some Roman or Gypsy, or there's some heritage, you know, what's coming through, if you like, and then obviously your older sister has picked up on it, and then you've picked up on it as well. So once you've started seeing stuff in your childhood then, if you like, did that continue through your childhood then? Yeah,
it got worse in a way.
Oh, did it?
So yeah, it never stopped. So what was the next one? I thought there was loads of things. There's things as well that I want to talk about, which is weird things. So it wasn't just all ghosts. It was weird things that happened. So when I was a kid, not long after that, I was still small at the time. We used to have a climbing frame in the back garden and an old like makeshift fence what my dad had put up, and I had like a shelf running along the fence, like a middle separating it. And I don't know why I was a weird kid, but I was singing opera, you know what I mean? Like, like this sort of thing. Didn't know the words or nothing. And I think now I was somehow changing my vibration, because as I was standing there, I was sort of lost in my own world like I do now. I get daydreamy. And as I've sort of looked up to this fence where I've seen something move, there was a little white mouse about that big, but it was clean as hell. And I was thinking, now I think, well, if that was outside and it was a wild mouse or something, normally brown or something, this looks like a pet or something. It's neither just escaped from someone's house and it's ended up on this fence coincidentally, but as it's come along like that, it stopped directly facing me, got up on its hind legs and just looked still as anything. And I'm singing at the time and I'm thinking in my brain, that's weird, what's this mouse doing, you know? And I was fascinated by it. So I've sort of got to a point where my brain's tripped a little bit and it's gone, oh, this is weird, something's wrong here, because I got this weird feeling in me, like something's happening, like a knowing feeling. And then the mouse has jumped back down, I've stopped singing and it's run off. And then I thought, well, I wonder if it'll come back if I start singing again. So I started singing again. The mouse come back. You know what I mean? Way. It was weird, So it's not just all about scare, it's more about weird stuff.
That's what life's about, isn't it? I mean, because it's, again, like even come away from the psychic mediumship, your life isn't just about the readings and what there's things that are hard to explain to people, what's happening in your life. You know what I mean? It's like, it just, you could be driving and just it could be a certain car that's come in front of you or a certain person, but you know that feeling, you're like, whoa, something weird's just happened there. Now, it's hard to explain.
It's like you're not knowing of it, but time slows for just 10 seconds and it makes you say, are you listening, are you watching, you know what I mean?
It's like,
but it's hard to say to someone, I just had this feeling, because they're stuck in their time, so it's like they don't know, you know what I mean?
Because it's like when some people, like, they'll go, they'll start seeing all the ones and all the rest of it, and it just so happens as you work, you know, something's caught your attention, you look at the clock on your speedometer or something, and everything's on ones, and then you turn and the house is 1111, and then you turn and the side, and you're just like, well, what's going?
But I always say to people, when that stuff happens, rather than say, oh, this crazy thing, if no one's around you or believe in you, just know it in your mind, and then just say, thank you for that, whoever that was, please show me more. Once you start communicating with them, they get sort of excited, I think,
that's really
and they start showing you bigger things then, you know, like...
What time is it when you sat down?
111. It was it? Yeah. Just as I sat on the couch.
And do you know what I do? And let's just go back to the light and everything being energy, right? Because one of the things when I started having experiences, which at the time I thought I'm fucking going nuts, if you like, is like in the carpet or in the wall or in pictures, I would start seeing like faces, right? But if you think about, if everything's vibration and energy and everything else, why? Like when you just said, I looked in and there was nobody there, but I knew I was there. But so why wouldn't the energy be there? They would just use the wall or the carpet or whatever as a platform to...
Well, we forget that because there's a lot of people who don't visually see things, but we forget that, oh, the spirit wills this place, we welcome in, and then it all of a sudden comes down and the line breaks and we can communicate, but it's not, it's there all the time, you know what I mean? So in that wall right now, if you look long enough, it can lift and you'll start seeing shapes appearing and stuff like that. It's just breaking, sort of like, imagine a wiggly body like that. The minute you break those atoms or whatever's in it, you can see through it, you know what I mean? It's here all the time, they're always here. They never leave.
It's almost seeing through, like if like people look with their eyes and like you're like, it's almost acknowledging there's something in front of you, even though there's nothing in front of you, and looking through nothing. Right, and that's how you start. I mean, the first one I used to always see was like an Afro-Caribbean lady, and I called her Lisa. Right, and I would be working and I would literally throw some flour on the table at work, and she would appear. I would look on the wall, she would be there, in a picture, and I'd be like, what the fuck? Now, never communicated, never said anything. So what I did then, I started looking into the medical side of it, and I thought, oh, does the brain start making, like, you know, when people look at clouds, I can't think of the bloody name, but there is a name for it. So I thought, bloody hell, trust me, I'm one of these ones who's got this deformality, who look at the clouds, look at whatever, and starts to see.
You're looking for a scientific kind of route.
Yeah, because what happens is, they reckon, like, as a baby, that's how you start to familiarise yourself with your parents, and it's the face and the expressions. So I thought, oh, perhaps it's part of the Nathaniel, part of the brain, part of flight and freeze, you know, and all these kind of things. So I looked into everything, what it could be, rather than what it probably was. Do you know what I mean?
That's it, but that's part of conditioning. So we have scientists who massive respect and they learn things, we've advanced through them, but I think they only know through textbook stuff. So if the textbook said, oh, and by the way, there is this possibility.
But who writes a textbook?
Exactly, yeah. So it's all again higher above. But it once you break that down and say, like, I mean, there's loads of people, like, I'm not calling them, but you know, Brian Cox and that, who do space stuff and that, very intelligent guy, but I've seen them when people comment on some online and that, and different people, you think, but they're talking, so they go, no, this isn't real, this is what's real, and you're like, but you're just talking about what you've learned in text, but you've not been there and experienced it, so it's something totally different.
And that's a massive thing. There's a difference between knowing something and experiencing it.
And there's been thousands of people who created light bulbs, everything, who stepped outside the box and said, well, this is what's supposed to happen, but I'm going to try this anyway, and magical things happen, don't we?
They do. Yeah.
So let's go back to what's it called. So as you're growing up and you're going through, you know, junior school and high school, what was sort of a big turning point or a big thing? Was there anything in your life there where you thought, whoa, this is a bit?
No, so it was mostly like when we was in primary school to start off with. There was a memory what I've got where it was sort of like we had a group of 12 friends. We're only about 10 years old or 8 years old, something like that, and it was important to be cool then, you know what I mean, you wanted to be the popular one. There was always a leader or something like that, and we were outside this greengrocer's shop where we was, and I was sort of like a big glass pane windows, and I had my foot propped up and my mates were all like around me, so it would have like you would have had to go for about 10 people to get into us. There was loads of us there, big gang, and we were going to this youth centre after it, so we were getting sweets from there and that. And I remember this again. This was my first ever time, I think, where I felt this feeling. It was a powerful feeling this time, like time would slowed or something like that. And this man, I just remember him. He was like he had like a stick, and he was dead short. About 80 years old, and he was sort of rattling through the people, and he was pushing my mates out the way. My mates are going, "What are you fucking doing?" and stuff like that. And I'm looking because I barely see him. Who's that? What's going on here? And then as he's come forward, he didn't go to anybody else. He came to me and grabbed hold of my arm dead tight like that and was shaking and said, "I need to go home. I only live up there. Will you help me get up there?" And I thought, well, who are you? Like, why are you asking me? You know? And I was sort of embarrassed in a way because my mates were all laughing and stuff like that. And then as they're laughing at me, it was like I had about a minute to think in my mind, and something was telling me I had this weird feeling again, like a God feeling, I call it. And it was like, are you going to help him? Or are you going to, you know, my mates were saying, like, punch him and stuff like that, kick him, you know, tell him to fuck off and stuff like that. And it was like a test for, this is who you are, like, you stay who you are. Yeah. And I did, and I helped them. But, you know, for about 5 months after that, I got bullied for that. You know what I mean? So there was consequences to doing the good action. Yeah, sure. But, yeah, that was my first ever time where I've had many of those times now where different things have happened.
But it was the right thing to do, and you knew that.
I can feel it inside, and I just know that.
Do you not think as an empath, if you like, as well as you attract the shit and the problems, but you also attract like people will just come up to you and feel like they want to tell you the whole life. Yeah, they'll want to tell you everything. Yeah. You know, they feel like they can open up. Yeah, I've done it myself. All I've done is walk in, add some petrol in the car, and I've come out and 10 minutes later, and the missus said, "What the? Where the fuck you been?" And I went to the counter, and there was this young Indian fella, and I just said, "Are you all right, mate?" And he burst out crying, and he went, "No," and he started telling me, and I was like, fucking hell, I only wanted some petrol.
Once you start realising, no, this is why, you're not looking at yourself in this big special place, but you think, I am this person, it starts to attract more people who need help and stuff like that.
But then obviously, I mean, and I'm sure we'll get to it, but that also has another side, because that can be very damaging to your own health, and you know, it can deplete you, it can suck it out and make you very ill.
And the more you think, oh, this person's had a terrible thing, I can help them, because you know you actually can, whether it's with physical things or whatever, or just knowledge. You start getting too deep into it before you know your life's disappearing and it's wasting away. But I've sort of helped a few people up to a year ago, and I've started realising that, and then I've started making me distance.
But you get energy vampires though. Yeah, that's what you do.
But do you know what? And this is what I love about like the platform. What we have now is because look, we want to help people, but I like the fact that we can put out all the information, because what I want to see is people help themselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because if they meet you halfway. Yeah. Because unfortunately what happens in life, you just get people who'll tech, and then when you've got nothing left to give, they'll just fuck off. No, that's and they had never had any intentions of helping themselves anyway.
No, you end up carrying people.
I always say it's like, you know, when my dad was like this, I don't know if everyone's was, but when my dad was like off, he was a driving instructor, so we never really seen much of him. But sometimes when he knew I had problems, and like he'd tell me, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? He gave me knowledge, you know, like that father and son relationship. And it's like, if you can, when you're trying to say to people, I want you to help yourself, so I've helped you now, but tomorrow, instead of phoning me, go and do this, or instead of asking me for advice, it's a bit like that, the same thing, isn't it? But some people haven't got that spark where they can just see it in the mind and go, I know what he's on about now, and you move forward, you know what I mean? So once you realise they're not helping themselves, I'm not getting help from it, I've offered them it, it's going to take someone else to do it now, and you have to walk away. You know?
Yeah, you do. You've got to protect your own energy.
Yeah. And that brings into like even like emotions and feelings. It's like, you know, sometimes like, look, what I'm about to tell you, I know it's going to hurt your emotions or feelings, but it's almost like you take on their pain then. Yeah. Or it's like it's. I mean, I suppose it's a bit like when you become a parent. You know what you can see it before it happens. A kid's going to fall off a bike or blah blah blah. That's a good way of sort of describing it. And it's almost like you feeling, so you want to stop them having that pain or that accident. But as an empath, I think you find yourself in these positions where you don't want someone to have that pain. Like you know someone, like say they've lost someone, it's like you're crying for them because you know how much they're hurting.
Yeah, you don't want people to suffer. No, I get that.
It's weird. So when you went into sort of your early teens and sort of what I would class say from 18 to 21, 22, did you go through like a rebel period where you was a bit off the rails or like trying to find yourself?
I think I was like that from a kid. Right, so I was always a bit more, so like what we're trying to talk about, I was always a bit more extreme than that, you know. I was very lonely as a kid and stuff like that. But yeah, it was more just like I don't know how to explain. Like I was sort of in primary school, there was no violence, but at home there was a little bit, and miscommunications with things, and parents being out and stuff like that. A bit of neglect, but I sort of forgive them now. I'm not bothered about it anymore. I moved on. But then when I come into secondary school, that's where real violence started happening. So I was followed home every day for 3 years. You know what I mean, and stuff like that. Because I was getting a bit at home, I could take a beating, so it didn't bother me. You know what I mean? It didn't hurt me to get a punch or something. I came resilient to it. You know what I mean? But I sort of went too much in myself then, where I didn't have anyone to say to me, "Oh, do this or do that." Even my dad, he was too busy, so he went. And I did tell him like this is happening every day. And he told me he followed me home from school. He knew my route. And he said, I never seen anyone with you, but it must have been that one day where that person was just about to come out and seen him. You know what I mean? So I was like, you should have carried on, you know what I mean? And
as you've got older and learned about different areas and like energies, have you come across now the fact like your home life and that energy as a kid would have probably been attracting the energy of someone attacking you?
Yeah, 100%.
And this is another thing, because people actually who have never addressed it and they're still being attacked in the 20s and in the 30s, or they have a little bit of happiness and then it all falls apart, and then they don't realise you're still giving off this vibration from when you were a kid because you've never addressed it, you've never worked on it, and it's so important to release. And did you find all
people
that?
think it as well, because I used to be like that. I especially when I started being a medium, I was like, I need to acknowledge this that happened to me past, like my dad's death, all different things like that, and I thought to myself, I can just say it now, then it's gone. You know what I mean? I forgive myself, I forgive him and all that, but it doesn't really work like that. You have to have patience with yourself and allow yourself, right, so when these emotions come up one random time, I need to allow myself to take myself away, I want to cry or whatever, and actually release, because when you're releasing it, you can feel it, can't you?
I think anyone who's come out the other side, when it's gone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like somebody, like I've met loads of people who said, oh no, like it doesn't bother me anymore. And what they've sort of done is they've put it in a box and it's at the back of the ring. And then there's a trigger one day and it all comes flooding back. And so they've never really done that. And I suppose, listen, I'm not that much into it, but I do understand when people say, oh, you've got to go through the shadow work or the dark nights of the soul. I think there is a lot in that.
But there's a beauty of like meeting Dave the Heyoka in that respect as well, because he's able to do things in a different way. And
well, that brings a whole different thing to it if somebody wants to sort of fast track doing the work, if you like.
I often go through dark nights of the soul now. I'm not fully educated on it all, but I know something's happening here that I've missed. I need to educate myself and allow myself to heal from it. And then it's always like a week later, because I've allowed it, something better comes, you know what I mean? Or I feel great again now, and I've just had a good show, and I've just done this, you know what I mean?
It's transmuting the energy, isn't it?
But it's about being honest with yourself as well.
It is.
Lots of people
completely
honest.
honest. And it hurts. It can hurt.
A lot of people, when you ask them that question, get a piece of paper and write down, like, I don't know, say what you want, or just be honest with yourself. Even then, they still can't be honest. And if you can't be honest with yourself, but the thing is, this is the thing, so the energy and the source, that knows the real answers.
Oh, God, yeah.
So it doesn't matter what you write on a piece of paper, it knows the real answers.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
it's all over you.
I never used to believe as well, while we're on about energy and stuff. People say, oh, watch what you say and stuff like that. And I used to think, oh, whatever, it's just a word, you know what I mean? I don't mean anything. But I've really noticed lately that the more I say, the more it's having an effect on me, So I'm very careful about it now,
Yeah, it's magic.
And I've often thought, and I've learned more about that, because and then you can understand like the monks when they just sit in silence and everything. Although that's not for me, but you can understand what they're doing. They're trying to transcend, or they're trying
people in a simple term who are watching, who can understand it. If you ever had an argument with your partner or something and it's just a bad energy, and someone comes in and goes, oh, what's happened in here? Exactly. It's because it's in the air, so it still exists till you cleanse and get rid of it.
And also, because I often say this as well, so like you could be feeling like anger or towards a person or a work colleague or whatever, and then you could go to the shop, right, just like your missus might turn around, go get some chicken from Tesco or something, right, and it just so happens at just that fucking time you go in and he's there, or and you're guaranteed. The one person you want to avoid, and you're like in every aisle, and you just but through mediumship and psychic and spiritual experiences, I've learned a lot about sort of that, and because if you just pick up a book and you read a thing about like the silver cord and all this kind of stuff, right? What it is, there might be something in it, but until you've actually experienced or got your own knowledge. All you're doing is telling someone else something from a book.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that's not true. All I'm saying is you can't turn around and say that's 100% correct unless you...
You can call it the silver cord, but you've got a memory in your head of something that happened where you know what that is when they say that. So you make your own word up or your own vision of it and you go, that's what they're talking about. So you have a deeper understanding.
Exactly. And it just brings to my mind, I remember doing a reading for a lady who... She come and sat down and blah, blah, blah. And I brought someone up and she went... I don't want to fucking speak to him, blah, 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 and she went off. And in my mind's eye, the information what come through, this fella was in like a ring of fire, right? And obviously energy is intelligence, and like everyone works differently, so what basically it's trying to explain to me, this, you know, what's happening. And basically what he was saying is, look, I've crossed over, I'm dead, but I'm still connected to her. Because she won't let me go.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I can't move on, and neither can she, because we're attached.
Yeah.
So even in the spirit world, and even in different lives, you're keeping yourself attached. So you have to go through this again, this work of releasing and cutting the cord and bringing in whoever in and saying, look, I no longer want to be attached to this person. Listen, we can't. No one say you have to forgive and forget everything what's happened. But what you do is you say, look, it serves none of us.
Exactly.
Any purpose anymore.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think we all put as well, I've noticed this, people put through doing readings myself. I know everyone's important, everyone's meant to mean something in the world, but we see ourselves as my life, my kids, my job, my husband, it's all important, but we don't realise that we're not. You know what I mean? Like, we are actually insignificant. We don't mean anything. You know, the soul inside is important. That lives on. But this vessel is a lovely blonde there you got, or whatever, all these, you know, this lovely figure. It's all bullshit. You know, none of it's real.
The material trap.
But we think, I'm not going to forgive him because he did this to me, or like, that person did that to me. What we don't realise, it's only damaging us. And once we say, well, maybe that incident, what happened, or that person who bullied me or whatever, wasn't that important, you know what I mean? And I can just let go of it now. Stuff like that.
I think so. Yeah. Because it's the soul that wants to grow, not the physical meat skin, you're in. Do you know what I mean? It's not, so
my meat skin never grew anyway.
Well, no, you were trapped. So, when did you start? Like, when did the psychic or the mediumship start taking a bigger role in your life? Like, because did you leave school and go into work and have a job? And
so this is where we go into more interesting stuff. When I was in year 9, I think year 9 or year 10, it got too much where I was mentally getting problems now, so probably mental health problems through a lot of things going on, bullying, different violence in my life and that, and I decided that it wasn't for me no more. Even the teachers were violence in the school that I used to go to, you know, let you take drugs, all stuff like that. They were crazy. But it was more like it was more like for naughty kids, you know what I mean? I went to a normal school, but they had a separate class, so if you were naughty, but they triggered the naughtiness in you. They, you know, hit you and stuff like that, so they'd make you fight back. Then they'd say, right, you're not in that class no more, that maths class, you're in that one instead, and that class was terrible, you know. So I decided it wasn't for me, and I got brave now, because through all the violence stuff, I said to my mum that I'm not going back to school tomorrow, and she was like, you are, and I said, I'm not, watch me. But I was now changing as a man, you know, from a child, developing too early, if you want to say that, but necessary. And I said to him, what are you going to do then? I said, I'm just not going back. There's a job up the road, and it was called, at the time, Oasis Gardening. And you could join there, and you think you got £50 a week, but if you were underage, or you had to have a national insurance number, that was it. Yeah. And I just got mine, and I decided that's it. I'm going to go and earn 50 quid a week, and I'll be made up. And I joined this gardening centre, and then basically the way it worked, you go in every morning, there'd be 6 vans, and they were like, they work for the council, you know, for old people, and they come in and cut your grass and stuff like that. And they had like loads of youths in there, and it was a good job for I stayed there for about 4 months, something like that. And then in the morning, Joe, the boss, used to say to us, right, Dave, you're on with Kevin, and you're going to go out with Tony in the van. You two would be out in the van with him all day. So we've come in every day as normal, nothing weird's happened. I've sort of got a good part in my life now and stuff like that. I'm out all day, and then I've got into the van every morning with a girl called Kaylee, who was on. And there was a guy called Nicholas, and this is going to go into a bit of a weirder story, but Nicholas had said it was his first time. I said, I've never seen him before, and I said, oh, are you? And he said, I've just joined the job this week, and he said, listen, he said, we just get on with it all day and all that, we'll smash it, and we'll get a good record for it, and you know, I'll help you out, you can stay on with all week, we can have earlier breaks, double breaks, stuff. So we were made up, and then we've gone to this person's house, cut this grass, and Nicholas, I didn't know at the time, was a born-again Christian. And my nan, on my dad's side, had just died. The first tragic loss in my life. So, but I didn't understand death, and I wasn't sure what it was. But I thought that hurts, and miss her and stuff like that. My dad was upset and that. And Nicholas was telling me, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, David. And where do you think your nan is now? And that's, I was like, well, I didn't know, born again Christian, and I wasn't, never met a lot of them. And I said, well, I know, because I've seen ghosts and stuff like that. I told them about it. We had this deep conversation that she's in the spirit world and she's happy and stuff like that. And he was hell bent on telling me that she wasn't in the spirit world, and if she wasn't a born again Christian before she died, she was in hell and burning and that.
Really?
So I was a bit like,
wow.
But because I was already tough, if you want to say that, and the man in my mind, I was sort of just like, well, I don't believe that. I was getting a bit argumentative, and Kaylee to my left was just saying, oh, you used to shut up, you're stupid, what is he even arguing about, you know? And then as he's telling me that, I sort of thought to myself, well, you know, what do you know? You're just a preacher or something. You haven't got a clue. So I started questioning his stuff then, and then he basically got serious. And then this is weird. He said to me, "The stuff you don't understand about religion, about Christianity and born again Christian and stuff like that because you're just a child, you don't know." And I said to him, "Well, tell me then." And he said, "Well, people walk around every day and don't realise that there are people with them." And I was like, "Actually, I know what you're on about. I've seen ghosts around people. I know what you mean." He went, "Not ghosts, David." He said to me, "There are demons walking around." And I said to him, "No, there's no such thing as that. I've never seen a demon in my life. So I've seen dark shadows, I've seen ghosts, but they didn't do nothing. They didn't make me scared. Demons are not real. It's bullshit." So I challenged him on it, and then he said to me, "Well, in a minute, I'll make one appear." And Kaylee's laughing her head off at this time. She's sort of saying to me, "Well, whatever, Nicholas, what are you on about? This is getting ridiculous now." And he said, "I'll make one appear, but you haven't got to be scared. You're protected by Christ and stuff like this. And we do this in our church all the time. We make them appear, and then we cast them out, and we chant Jesus and stuff like that." And I was thinking at the time, what a load of shit. That's complete. I was confident because I've seen ghosts. You're not going to scare me with a ghost if it appears, because I've seen too many of them, and I'm fine with it. Where Kaylee's never seen nothing. She was terrified, and she was getting nervous and anxiety, and I did feel a shift happening. But at the time, I didn't know. I just thought, oh, it's just me getting a bit, because he's getting into my head a little bit and panicking a little bit. And then we've got our sandwiches out and stuff like that. He's got his lunchbox out. And we parked up, and where we parked up was like a field with like grass like that, and then like a tarmac on an old council estate it was, where they were knocking houses down. There was nothing around. So unless there was someone, like hidden down the bottom, which would have took you about 5 minutes to get up there, and you'd be out of breath and everything. When I thought about it after that, I thought, could he have set that up? And he parked in that exact place to do this? Because when this happened, he's basically eating this putty, and he's looking to my left where I am, and he's going, "Look, one will appear in a minute and you'll be proven wrong, and then after it maybe you'll come to my church and you can follow what you're supposed to be doing in life." And I went, "All right, yeah, Nicholas," like that. And I'm looking at Kaylee and I'm laughing, going, is he having a laugh? Is he because he sounds so far-fetched and ridiculous. Sure. Then something happened where I've got my face this way, and Nicholas went, "Look now." So Kaylee is already looking towards Nicholas. Kaylee's face just literally, it was like, have you ever seen someone pass away and the blood drops out of the face and they got that grey colour? That's what happened to her. So then something inside of me, I felt like hell was there, like the devil was there or something. Instantly just knowing, and I was terrified, absolutely terrified. And I'm looking at Kaylee and I went, "What?" Like that. And she went to me, "Look." So I've turned around like that, and she started screaming by the time, violently screaming. And Nicholas going, "It's okay, it's okay." And I've looked, and we were in Ford Transit, man, so we're up quite high. This thing is next to where Nicholas got his hands on the wheel with his butty and his finger on his lap. This thing is literally just got its hands on the window and just making this like weird gargling noise. This weird, I don't know how to explain it, this weird noise. And it was like it was moving, like its face. It was stood still, but its face was just like rapidly moving and stuff. Like, it was very pale, and like weird hair, like it was patchy in places.
It's like Jacob's Ladder, the way the heads are moving.
Oh, it was fucking weird. It was like, not like a glitch. Like, I'm sat still now, but the mist is rattling around, but I can still see its eyes still and stuff. It was weird to explain, but it was a physical manifestation. It wasn't see-through, it was solid. Wow. It was it wasn't just what it was looking like, and oh my God, there's this demon thing looking at me. It was the feeling inside. It was like danger, danger, danger.
If you're enjoying everything that we're doing here at Drake, Michigan, please subscribe, ring my bell, and let's enjoy this journey together.
No, and back then, I used, when I was a kid, things were going wrong for me. I used to pray to God to help me and stuff like that. Yeah. my natural instinct was protect me, help me, this is really dangerous. And Nicholas is going, it's fine, because Kaylee's still screaming her head off. And then I'm still looking, I can't get my eye contact to leave it. And it was literally looking at me. It's hard to explain in words, but it was staring into my soul.
Yeah.
It was free. It was one of the worst things I've ever experienced in my life. And as it's looking into me, Nicholas is going, it'll go now, you're protected, you're with me, honestly, you're fine, nothing's going to happen to you. And I went, Nicholas, what the fuck is that thing? And he kept persisting that it's a demon, it's fine, and what have you. So by this time, this gut instinct where I've been, stomach's turning, I feel like I'm in extreme danger, like the world's coming to an end or something. I've decided that I'm going to get up and get out the van. And it was like my brain wanted to see what this thing was. So, but if I walk around the van, I'll see it's got legs and it's a man, and I'll go, what are you fucking doing? He's got a mask on. But it wasn't like he had a mask. But my brain's trying to rationalise what's happening. And Nicholas going, stay in the van. And I went, no, I'm getting out. And Kaylee's stiff as a board. So I've said to her, just move, and I've got hold of the van's the handle, pushed my way out, jumped over there, run round the side of the van, and then it was literally gone. And I said, where is it? Thinking, looking under the van, looking down the van, looking down the... Where's he gone? I was panicking inside. And he went, it's gone, David. He went, I'm just telling you, that's what's there. He said, you believe me now? And after that, I got back in the van after like 2 minutes of my mind racing. And I was questioning him. I said to him, but Nicholas, what was it though? And he went, I've told you time and time again, it's a demon. They're everywhere, they're all over the place. And people are getting spoken to by them, tricked by them and stuff like that. And the only way you can save yourself is by coming to God. And I was just like, as a young, I think it was 16 at the time, I was terrified, absolutely terrified. I thought, how am I supposed to move on forward day by day now, thinking these things are real? And that man's going to appear to me anywhere. I could be in bed tonight and it's there in my room, you know what I mean? I was terrified. And it got weirder because once we got in the van, Kaylee's just stiff as a rock. She won't talk anymore. I'm saying, you okay? And stuff. She wouldn't talk to me. Just kept looking out the window, said, I want to go home. I said, all right. And then Nicholas has agreed, we're going to end the day, I'm going to go home. It was about 2 o'clock, something like that. We weren't meant to finish till like 5. And Nicholas is begging us on the way home, saying to us, please don't tell Joe about what happened today. He won't understand. No one will understand. He said, but I wanted to help you so you can follow Christ like me. And I was thinking to myself, I've got to tell somebody, I can't just, it was too weird for me not to say anything. Obviously,
you need to unload that, won't you?
And I'd said to him, because I'll be honest with you, I was scared of Nicholas. So I thought he was like, I don't know, because I'd experienced weird stuff in the past. I thought he was like a magician or something like that. This is something I don't know about yet, but he's going to kill me, or he could kill me when I'm going home or something. Like some secret thing that some organisation he's from or something like that. So then I'm panicking, I'm trying to make sense of it so I can survive like I'm used to as a kid. I'm finding ways out to survive. So I just said to him, I promise you, Nicholas, I'll never tell a soul again. I'm glad you showed me and stuff like that, and I will come to your church. I just told him whatever he wanted to hear to get home safe. And he went, okay. He said, what I'll do is, he got paid like 600 quid a month or something. It was only a small wage. He said, I'll give you £100 at the end of the month each for not saying nothing to anyone. And bear in mind, if you start on a Monday with this man, you were on till Friday with him every day. So I'd said to him, well, I don't want to be with you after this and all that, and I want to go with someone else tomorrow. He went, that's fine, I'll talk to Joe, promise you I'll sort it all out, it'll be okay. So I said, all right then. And then I've got out the van, and the brain, when these things happen to you, you know yourself, tries to go back to normality. So it tries to forget what you've just said. Same way when you give someone a reading and they go, well, you told me this and I forgot this sort of it. And it's because the brain wants to go back to normality. But so I've got back to the gardening place, and he's looking at me sort of say, well, you're not going to say nothing, are you? Kaylee's just said to get me bag and going home. She's left. And then I've said to talk to Joe and that, and Nicholas was close by me, and I said, Joe, I'm going to get off early now. We were sick and that, and Joe, Nicholas has explained to Joe they had a bit of tummy ache and stuff like that, they're going to go home. So he said, all right, fine. And the next morning, because I've got to go to work, you know what I mean? I'm this young lad thinking I can't, it's important that I go to work and that. I'll go, and I'll just not go with Nicholas. I'll never speak to him again, and I'll never tell him. Bear in mind, I told me mum and my dad that night what had happened, and they were like, what? And that's a different story. And then I've gone back to work the next day. Nicholas and Kaylee are not on. They've left. So I said to Joe, I'm with Nicholas and Kaylee, and it was like getting on 9:10. He went to me, no, he said, I don't know what happened yesterday. He said, but Nicholas has said he quits, he doesn't want to do it after his like first day. And I was like, why has he done that? He went, and another thing, David, Kaylee's quit too. She phoned up, and he went, can I ask you something, David? What happened yesterday? And everything inside me was just saying, don't tell him because he's going to come after you or something like that. And I went, I don't know, Joe. I said, I was just, we had a bit of tummy ache. And he went, did anything happen to Kaylee? And he thought like something malicious was going with him. And I went, no, I don't know, Joe. And he knew I was lying by what the way he was looking at me, and he wanted me to tell him the truth. And I said, I don't want to get involved. And I just run off. And I got in the van with someone else that day. And it was like he never asked me no more about it. But there's synchronicities with that as well, because later on in life it came back to me in a weird way, where not the thing but the people, and basically that was my first ever experience with something.
Can I just ask you there? Sorry, to
mind blowing.
I know this. What was his name? The fella, Nicholas,
yeah.
right? But was there anything that maybe he wasn't as holy as you might think?
This is where we start going deeper into it.
Because I'm just thinking, like, my first thought is there. To actually try and conjure up and ask something to come, that doesn't sound to me like somebody who's coming from the right place.
No.
Yeah.
That sounds to me like somebody who might be attached or connected with something negative.
I didn't know any of this, but as I've become a medium now, I've learned other things through other experiences. We have, as a medium, there is the opposite to us. So we go, we give readings and we bring love and light and it's all good and make people happy. But I believe there's the opposite of us. I believe Nicholas was a medium, and he used it and thought, I can get popular in my church here and probably make a lot of money or something. Right. I can make these things appear, and people go, oh my word, it is real, the whole God thing's real, and demons are real, and I need to be protected, because if you were a vulnerable person, and that had just happened to you, like Kaylee, I never seen Kaylee for years after that. She left the area and everything, I never seen her. And
something like that could leave you traumatised for fucking
forever. Yeah. Or even suicidal.
It was on a different scale. That's what I mean by it. And even my mum, I was talking to her about it the other day, saying I'm going to be bringing this up. She said, I remember you coming home telling me that. She went, I just thought, what the fuck's he on about? It's like, no, maybe it was someone dressed up or something. She went through it with me at the time, which I've forgotten about, telling about it. And she said, it scared us when you told us about it. And she said, and the thing is, my cousin worked in the head office for Oasis, and my mum had gone to her and said, so, what happened over this and that? She went, I never heard nothing about it. So it was all hushed up, you know what I mean? And the even weirder thing is, the place where I worked for, so it was in an old people's home, and in one side of it was all these units, and that old people's home was sharing part of it. And what the deal was is, we have all these guys who do all this garden stuff. There's all lawnmowers and whizzers in there and everything, and we'll look after your gardens for you for free, but we're going to use this part of it to leave our vans there and that. And they had a head office then, which was in Prescott. The place where these guys preached this born again Christian stuff was the head office. So the part of it was all blocks and buildings and office units. They were up there, but over like a Sunday or a Thursday or whatever it was, the church was downstairs and as a theatre. And inside that church is where Nicholas and other people I know now used to go to, and that's where he told me they bring them. So I was a bit like, well, why is the same building the same one that I'm working for? And it was weird.
Whoa.
And there was more stuff I learnt later on in life about it, but that was one of the most... Now I've seen it again, I don't think I'd be as fearful, because I know it didn't hurt me.
The thing is, we live in a world, again, and back to like emotions and feelings, because even just a story like that, so what it can do is, and this is the power of words, it could make someone feel uncomfortable. Like even like you could go home tonight now, and that could still play on your mind tonight, or before you get. And this is like a bit like, and we've had this in a different conversation. Like you know when you go to the doctors and you felt fine, and then the doctor tells you you're ill. He's planted the words there.
Exactly, yeah.
And then what happens is, we know the power of energy and manifestation, so you can now, if your mind is what's it called, you can now start to create this in your reality and bring it forward to you. And you've created this. And again, I don't. This is your story, I don't talk about mine, but I've seen that firsthand as well. As you can start to create, like, some really horrible things, because you're... And this is why you have to break this negative cycle, because and break because you're on a vicious loop of creating something negative, then something negative again, and blah blah blah. So you have to break it.
People say that, like, have advised me, obviously, and I've told people, I've only told a handful of people stuff like this, but they always say to me, I wouldn't talk about that, because especially in our spiritual world, that's very negative, that's a very, and they've never seen nothing like that, so they think, one, is it real, and two, maybe you shouldn't talk, because it's very, dangerous to talk about it, as you're saying there, but if we do talk about it and we realise, well, I've been through that, I wasn't harmed by it, and I know now I wouldn't be fearful of it, because if it is out there, I don't know why they're there or anything like that, but I'm protected from it. I've never seen it again. It's never done nothing to me, you know what I mean? So we should be able to talk about positive and negative, and people not get anxiety when we're talking about each other, and just go, well, because the more knowledge you share of it, the more you can help people.
I think so. And also, do you not think as well, because we live in a world of duality, right? And if there is good, well, I think we have to accept there's bad.
Yeah.
You know, you can't turn around and say, oh, there's a God, but then not there's a devil, or and you know, black and white. And for me, so like my experience, I don't know if you're on about when I was at Blackpool, right? But like obviously I was in a protective bubble, so I was always protected and safe. But spirit did allow me to see stuff I'd rather have not seen. But it was on a different vibrational energy level than your physical body now. But these things were everywhere. They were latching onto people and grabbing. And the thing is, so this is where things like alcohol, drugs, and as you lower your vibration, you are allowing these to get closer to you. So, and this is the thing. So, and again, if you want to like talk to like someone who's not in these circles, walk into a room full of gangsters, drug dealers, murderers, and blah blah blah. Just go and sit in there for an hour.
Feel it.
Then go and sit in a room full of people who love and happiness and joy and blah.
You'll feel it.
You will feel that energy, right? And but now the thing is, if you decide to stick around in that negative energy, you will then become this.
So you sacrifice your aura being damaged and get negative energy getting in it for the sake of being cool or being friends with that person, but you don't realise it's got a bigger impact than just sitting there and leaving after it. You know what I mean?
Lessons to be learned.
And do you know what? In some ways, like, because I've always thought, like, so let's take like Reiki healing, right? So if you could say you were doing a session of healing, but you could actually see someone's complete aura or energy around them. Now there might be people who can, right? But if you could see this like ready brick aura, and you could see there was a tear or a rip, and you went, oh, I'm just going to smooth that out, smooth this out, you're completely protected now, you'll feel great. Then you could. That would be great, because then if you could see that and do that, then you could change it from the thing.
It's not from you or me; it's from inside. So you have to fix it yourself, don't you?
But the thing is as well that I don't think unless that's something you can see and do, you can't then come out and say. Like people will say, "Oh, I'm a Reiki healer," but what does that actually mean?
I don't know. You've probably had Reiki. I've had it once or twice from a few well-known people. And in the beginning, I was like, surely that's not real. But I had to test it. I just had me doubts. But after it, I went in like in a rough mood that week. I'd have a rough week or something, and then it was like I'd gone back to a neutral state again. So I wasn't high, I wasn't low. I was just neutral. And then it was up to me what do I want to do now. Do I want to go back negative, or it's like it fixes that for you.
So like this, what I'm saying, like I'm not
balance.
Yeah.
I 100% believe something's happening.
Yeah, something's
but what I'm saying is, wouldn't it be amazing if
you could see it?
Because it's like that. Like I said, I've done healing where you've said, oh, you can feel it, and you say, oh, you've got a stomach issue, or oh, you've got a bad knee. Now there's a difference between knowing and feeling and that. But then, if you could actually see what you were doing,
it'd be great, wouldn't it?
And I'm sure there's people out there.
There probably will be.
There will be, because people have got these different amazing abilities. But again, when it comes to the mediumship side of things, I often say to people like if I saw a medium now and they said, "Oh, I've got such and such at the side here." Now I don't know if this. So I used to always question people, right? So and I used to say, "Oh, right, okay. So, what do they look like? Or give me the message, that kind of stuff." And then my thought was, well, if you're telling me you've got someone at the side here, you can see him and everything else, well, surely the message should be a lot fucking better for a start, right? Yeah. But so I used to dig a bit deeper, but now they don't like that sometimes. But then they'd say, well, they're not exactly at the side here. What it is, it's in my mind's eye, I can feel them and all the rest. No, well, that's not what you said.
It's a knowing, isn't it? Where there are mediums out there who've got a sight, you know what I mean? So I can say, the spirit can say to me, oh, there's a memory we went for an ice cream on Blackpool Beach, it was lovely, we were all happy. One of them fell over. I just know that stuff, but I can see that actually happening as a film in my mind. And go, and was the concrete looking like this, and was there a red wall next to you? And you can describe the actual memory, and it becomes a more real thing.
Yeah.
But that again. So like obviously psychic energy and picking up on on that. But I always think like if you're in you're a medium and you're talking to 100 people in the audience, and you've probably done it yourself, and they said, "Oh, I want to come to you there," right? But what that is that's like a feeling and knowing where you want to go.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm yet to meet someone who says, no, why you're stood there now? Like what's good? Like, say you were sat there now. If Dave said to you, no, there's a man there next to you, sat there with jeans on and a black T-shirt. He said his name's Kev. He's got a baseball cap on. And then you went, fucking Kev. That's the little bit where, you know what I mean, where I always get a bit broke down. So I'm probably the most sceptical medium
you are the most sceptical
medium. I am the sceptical medium.
It's good to be, though, isn't it? Because you learn from it, and you don't allow yourself to get too much ego for it and think, you don't bullshit yourself, you stay honest with yourself, and then it's more real.
But I want to be respectful, because I know everybody works differently, and it happens differently for them. So and because
you're trying to find answers, Kevin.
And because I know there's something in it, I'm so looking forward to understanding how other people work and what you do, kind of thing, and different people. Because, like I said, everybody's just different how they're working, aren't they?
Yeah.
So,
David, can I ask you? You mentioned something on these people came back into your life, or one came back into your life.
Yeah, so after that, many years after that, the story's disappeared in my head, and it's still there. No one ever spoke about it. We used to live in a house, and then behind that house there was obviously a fence in our back garden, and that man's back garden. There used to be a guy called Rod who's still alive now, and that man, when we were kids, used to take me and my brother to play golf and stuff like that in his car. It was just like, he had no chills himself. My mum and dad become friends with him and said, oh, he's a nice man. How can I take Luke and David out to play golf today? And we loved it, so we'd say, yeah, and he was a laugh, you know what I mean? And then, so we go places like that. We went to watch the flight of the last flight of the Concorde and stuff. It was brilliant, this random guy taking us out. And every Christmas we seen him. So once we moved from that house, we went different. He used to come round every Christmas and give you a box of celebrations between everyone. Really nice guy. So we were like, oh yeah, and we knew him like that. And then as I've become about 20 years old, I'm 34 now. My mum was saying to me, oh, Rod was asking about you, because I wasn't living there. You should come round and see him on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. And I said, oh yeah, I'll pop in, and I'll try and remember. And I kept missing him. And then Rod seemed like to be overly concerned about me, you know what I mean? So not my brother, not my sister, not my other sister, David. I'd love to speak to David and how he's doing and stuff there. So I thought maybe he was just interested, we got on when we were younger. It turned out that, because my mum questioned him one day and said, what are you up to now, Rod? And he said, oh, I'm a Christian, I'm a born-again Christian. And she said, where's that come from? And he went, oh, me and my wife, we decided to give ourselves to God, and decided to, convert my mum, but she can't be converted. And he went, oh, that's really good for you, and that. And Rod basically, my mum told me that Rod had been asking about me, and I said, well, where did he say he was a born-again Christian? And she went, you remember that church in Prescott? It was the same church where Nicholas was.
Oh, right,
and I thought, why? That's weird. And every alarm bell was going on my head, and I was thinking, that's a coincidence or a synchronicity, but why did it happen? Why is he so interested? So I just avoided him like the plague. I still see him now, but I just go, I like to drive past, I don't stop. Because, not that, he's a good guy, but something has happened there, and I just don't know what. Nicholas and him must know each other, but don't know that we know each other, you know what I mean? And something's happening, you know what I mean? And I can't make out, even to this day, what it was, because I've never spoke to him. And I've been tempted before to knock on his door and just say, years ago, do you ever remember the guy who looked like this, and he was called Nicholas? And he would go, oh yeah, I remember, he's still with us now. And I'll say, he showed me something one day, but I don't want to go into that.
Sure.
I've seen it, I know it exists now, I believe in it now, but I'm not going to continue feeding it, I'm not part of that no more. So,
released it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's mad.
Isn't it?
It's very
Yeah,
interesting.
my sister, bear in mind, she's scared of stuff like this. When I told her, I don't want to know. Most people just say to me, I don't want to know, you know what I mean? But it was crazy. But
well, it's easier to say, oh, but it's bullshit, it's not true, than it is to try and
when you see these people on YouTube now, don't you? We were talking about it before with ghost hunting and stuff. They go, oh, there's a demon in the house, sort of it. And I think, if you've seen a fucking demon, you would not be sitting there now going, oh, throw something, you know what I mean? That's residual energy getting annoyed with you there. Learn the difference between that, a spirit, and an actual demon, you know what I mean? Because these things aren't to be played with, And I even had a friend who I told the story to, and he said, does that building still exist now? And I went, yeah, it's just round the corner. You can't get into it. You'd have to break into it or get permission. It's the council-owned one. And he said, well, maybe we could take a camera in there, you know what I mean, and just see what's in there. And you're a trance medium, so why don't you, you know what I mean? And I was like, no. I said, imagine getting that on film, you know what I mean? But not only that, like I was saying, I've often thought before, there's levels to it. So say for real, right? You managed to get that on film. It's not some misty little thing that people go, oh look, there's the eyes looking at us. It's this physical manifestation of something. What would that do on video? So you put it on YouTube. There's got to be. I've seen it, so I know it's real. There's got to be other people out there who've seen these things and know about these things, and higher up people somewhere we never heard about who fully know everything about them and know what they're here for. 100%. What are they going to do when I put that up there and they go, okay, this one's not lying, this one's actually got something here, and we don't need that out there. You know, it's like you hear of people getting threat to lives and shit like that. I start thinking, right, let's not go down that avenue. Then I'm on my purpose. Let's stay away from that. But we can educate people on, oh, actually they are real, and I don't know why they are or what they're doing. You know,
and also I suppose it opens up the thing of because you can worship different energies, good energy, bad energy, right? And this is what they believe, like a lot of the elite. Yeah. It's very easy to worship the bad energy because it's easier.
Yeah.
And you can beget stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas, to be honest, to give yourself to the higher energy and love and light and all that, basically there could be no reward, there could be nothing. It could be a lifetime of agony, pain and suffering.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are like, no, I just want all the good stuff, the materialistic stuff, so I'll worship this God. Now, whether you go down the path of is that Moloch or is that, all these other demons and whatever, but it does seem that way. But in life, it's like that. It's very easy to be bad. Yeah, anybody can be bad.
Easier. And you're rewarded instantly for being bad, where being good.
It's very difficult to be good.
If I ask someone, I'll say, oh, your mum said I've been talking to someone, give them a read, and I go, your mum said she's going to drop pennies in front of you. Please look out for the pennies, and you'll know it's her. Or she's going to keep showing you doves. You'll constantly see doves, and you'll be like, where's that bird come from? This medium said that. Yeah. It takes time, and they don't. I don't know why either. I've asked for stuff before, and it's like they can't do it instantly, but the bad can do it instantly. They say, move that right now, and they'll move it. Yeah. You know what I mean? My family in my home, where I live now, who have passed on, they're quite jokey. We were saying this before. They were jokey in life anyway, and they do move things and stuff like that. But I've had ex-girlfriends in the past who've seen stuff and got freaked out by it. But they don't do anything that'll scare you. You know what I mean? Like they'll switch the telly off. You'll put the telly back on. The telly will go off again. It's and then they'll stop. You know what I mean? And I can hear them laughing. But she's more just
do you not find like when something does happen, whether you're giving someone a reading or whatever, it's almost like the energy of the spirit or whatever, it puts a sense of calm over everybody. It's almost like that everything's okay. Yeah. Everything's cool. It's like even though we talk about it now and people go, oh, I'd be dead scared, but when it actually happens, what it is, it's like a serene, like, oh, this is okay.
It's that moment where I went to the heaven place and it was all knowing, and the soul responds now and goes, hang on a minute, body, you stop a minute, I'm going to take over here and just say it's fine, it's normal and stuff like that. And these moments I think people experience in life as well. You know, we can't be the only ones out there, but I think people just put it to the back of their minds and get on with their lives, you know what I mean, and think, oh, I was just dreaming there.
Because I think 99% of people think their life is the only thing that's important.
Exactly. Yeah.
And because they are programmed. Like, I mean, I was watching a bit of, I don't know if it was Greg Biden or a bit of Wayne Dyer, that kind of stuff. And he was literally saying, look, you come down to this earth or whatever you want. And the first 7 years, you're sort of an open vessel, if you like. Yeah. But then 95% of the rest of your world is a program. Like it's the same streets, it's the same paths, it's the same people, it's the same everything. And then you're downloading everything in them first 7 years, and then it's sort of like, right, go and see how you do in the game. Now that first 7 years,
makes sense to me.
That first 7 years, you might have been downloaded with a program which is full of like abuse, violence, shit, blah blah blah. Now I tell you what, that might be sort of level 8, saying, see if you can get out the game at that level. Whereas someone else might come down and have, I had a perfect childhood, my parents were loving, blah blah blah. So that could just be level 1 easy. Do you know what I mean? Because some people do go through the life very, like, they never get into a fight, they never they never have problems. Then, you know what I mean? The worst that happens is like, oh, my parent died or someone, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense to me, that.
So there's a lot in that.
I think as well, we've gone back to that very quickly. I always am amazed, I've thought about it in depth before, how come all this happened, and I had all these experiences and it was all rough, but then I still now am quite normal. I still want love, I still want the normal things, and I think that's what matters to me. But why aren't I a violent person, or why aren't I, come across aggressive to everybody? It's like, I stayed to who I was, but there's people in my family who've had similar experiences who are the opposite now. So they're like, they a bit abusive in the relationships, maybe, I don't know, but you appear that way, you know what I mean? And I think it shows how some people can handle it.
Definitely.
It's interesting. Like, I wonder if, I mean, again, there's no way I could prove it, or maybe other people, but when they talk about like star seeds, certain people have come down here on a mission, and like maybe if you were a fragment of a star seed from somewhere else, but your natural essence and feeling is to be love, compassion, you know, this world could make you very angry and everything else, but your inner core and your true soul is to love and to help people.
Well, again, when I first started this, I was sort of like, oh, I can speak to people now, this is brilliant. And then I thought, well, I'll go down this path and spirituality. And I say now, I am spiritual, but I'm not a big spiritual person. You would expect me to be doing everything, but I'm not. It's just that I'm still me, but at the same time, I see things like the starseed thing and I think, well, maybe that's a bit mad or something, but I can believe it. It's not that I do believe it. It's like, well, it could be possible. You know what I mean?
I'm open to.
Yeah.
Like I said, if we could have someone on the couch next week who said he might be talking about, I don't know, the Palladians and starseeds and all and intergalactic, and listen, I'll take it at face value and listen to that conversation because I don't know their truth until they share it with me.
Yeah.
And who am I to say it's not true? Do you know what I mean? So I think we just have to take everyone's
experiences.
The more collective and knowledge there is, the more that we can all relate to it and expand our consciousness, can't we?
Yeah, definitely.
So when we're sort of, when does it start getting to a point where you're like let's what was your first reading you give somebody, or your first like telling somebody a message?
So my first message was my friend Hillary, who was a trance medium. I'll have to start with my dad passing away. So my dad's passed away. We'll go back into that if you want. But my dad's passed away. It was the first really traumatic thing that happened to me where I couldn't go on anymore. I needed to... It's like my whole life changed after that.
Yeah.
I live with him too. And he's passed away. And then I've gone to see my friend Hillary, who I know everyone was talking about in the community. She's this brilliant person. She can show you people and that. And I was like, well, I've seen people, so it must be easy for me to see people again. It'll work that easy. So I've asked for a reading. She says, yeah. And then she's given me my first reading. And then at that time, my brother had said, I want a reading too. And my brother didn't believe in it. So I was like, well, why do you want one? He went, I just want to see and know I want to see people. So I said, all right, then my brother's come along. And then my other two sisters decided they wanted to do it. So it's turned out on like a Monday, my two sisters went in. And then on the Tuesday, us two went in. So me and Luke are sitting there next to each other. Hillary's talking to us. And she said, oh, let's just talk normal before we go up and I'll take you up one at a time. Let's just talk normal. And what have you been up to today? And she was reading like our energies we were doing it. And I was like, oh, nothing. I was a bit shy. I was a bit like, what's going on? You know, I don't understand. I thought we were going to be read. And then she took my brother upstairs and she's read him and stuff like that. And then she done the trance for him, the transfiguration we should call it. And then he's come down, and as I'm sitting in the living room, I've been waiting there for like 30, 40 minutes, bored. He's come down and he looked terrified. And I thought, okay, this is real, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what, he doesn't believe. So for him to look like that, it shocked me. I went, what happened? And he went, everyone was there. And what do you mean everyone was there? So then she said, come on, David, it's your turn, like that, go up. And so I've gone, you sit there, and then I've gone up the stairs. And she's on like a stair lift because she's got problems with her legs and multibility. And as she's going up the stair lift, I'm looking, she went, we're going in that room there, so you can walk up or you can wait for me. And I went, all right. And as we're looking at the room like that, the light was just rapidly, and I was going, what's that? And she was going to me, that's them. And I went, what do you mean it's them? Like you've done that. And she was going, she's laughing her head off. She thought it was funny. And then as I'm stood still looking, I'm fascinated, waiting, it's dead slow. So I thought, I'll go a few steps and I'm looking like that. And then something just went, boom, and walked past the door like a shadow. And I thought to myself, oh, like, I'm not going in. But to me, it was more interesting. My mind's going, get in there now, let's see it. And she's into her dolls and stuff like that. And she had all them on the wall. And she just had a little two little chairs and a table. And we've gone in and she's laughing her head off at me and said, sit down, settle down. And she's done like cards and read me a bit. And I went, oh, yeah, interesting. It was brilliant. Yeah. But then she said, do you want to see someone now? So I've said to her, yeah. And she went, you want like your brother, do you want to see everyone? Or is there someone in particular you want me to bring forward? And I've said, yeah. I said, I need to see my dad. So she said to me, I'll try and get him and I'll let you know if he's here. So it's basically just like sitting there like that. And she just went to me, okay, he's here. He wants to do it for you. So I've gone, all right then. I'm thinking, well, where is he? You know, I can't see him. Yeah. But I was vibrating low at the time. I was grieving really bad. Yeah. So to me, I was just seeing, you know, normal negative things. I wasn't seeing spirits at the time. And she said to me, right, I want you to hold on to my hands, David. I just want you to look at me. That's all I want you to do. Pick a point in my face, anywhere, but try and allow your mind to just go free and just think of nothing. Them little moments where you think of nothing is where you're going to see it. I said, all right then. And I thought, oh, that's not going to happen. Because it's stupid as well. Hold me hands, all right then. Oh, nothing's happening, you know what I mean? I'm in control. But the medium is the trance medium. What I've learnt from her, and I've learnt my trance from her. Imagine like you can push your sight through your arms into that person and they become the medium then, and it appears like a mirror image. So you're now looking back at yourself. You can see yourself looking back at yourself, and it's weird because you can't see outside yourself. You ever heard of that before, where people say like, you don't know how everyone else looks at you and sees what you. So you'll go, I look like this, and they go, no, you don't. It's you start seeing. So you look like an alien a little bit. So you're like, who's that? That's like a duplicate. I mean, that's weird. So now she's doing it, and she's gone, can you see him? Yes. And I'm gone, no. And then all of a sudden, I've seen this like neon blue, like ball just appear to me left, and I've got old hands on, and she went, stay looking at me. I went, he's there next to me, and she went to me, well, don't look at me, look at him. So I've gone and slowly just looked, and as she did, and I looked at it, someone went like that over me, I couldn't hear a fucking thing, and there was cars going by outside the window and stuff like that. It was like I went silent, and that time thing happened again, and something went slow, and I went, something's happening here. And as I'm looking at this ball, it was like glistening. And then as it's travelling forward, it was like he could have walked around that room in 2 seconds, but it was like he was walking a lot longer than that. And as he's come up like that, this blue alien thing, you look, that's the only way I can explain it. You look like an alien with a big head and that, and the skinny little arms and the big hands. That's what it looked like. And I'm going, he's there. And she went, and she can see it now. And then it's formed into this big, long, stretchy arms. And then as it's here where I am, up to here, he's now a full apparition of something, but with no face, no, you can't see nothing, you just see a blue man or a blue alien. And I thought, what is that? And that's when I first realised, and then I knew it was him, because as he started moving forward, his hands started swaying the way he used to walk, and I used to rip him. I was like, why do you walk like that? You look, what, were you got a hunch on your back? Well, he used to call me for it. I know my dad's walk, and I know that was my dad. So he started swinging his arm like this jolly fella, and as he's gone behind, these like black lines are just going like these weird like shape-shifting black lines have started appearing, and then as it's happened, I can now see the back of his head. I can see the way his hair was. I can see his ears. I can see it was like he was still blue, but like that. As he's got closer to the medium, as he's come round like that, just turned to his right with the walk to walk up to her. He's just fully, these black lines and blue lights there, he's fully now gone like a clear colour, like skin, clothes, everything like that. He had the jacket, he had like a checkered shirt, what I remember him in well in. So that's another thing with spirit, they appear how you remember them the best. So if they're going to show you themselves to you, if you've seen a picture of him and you go, wow, didn't he look good there, he'll appear like that. So you go, wow, he's so happy, he's in such a good mood, look at how he's dressed, he looks fabulous, and that's how they appear. So he's come with this checkered shirt, and I'm not emotional, but I'm stunned and floored that I've never been able to see my dad since he passed away, and all of a sudden he's here in front of me. And as he's looking like that to get into Hillary, he's gone and smiled at me like that, and then he kneeled down behind Hillary, so he's fully, he's got his body behind her. Now as I'm looking like that, I'm following him with my eyes, it started like that. He's come behind Hillary, and he's pushed his legs down and just gone and pushed his head right through. And as he did that, I heard his voice. And he just went, I son, like that. But he said it like that, and his whole face, I could see his neck hanging out of the back of Hillary's neck, and his face forward. It was crazy. It was mind-blowing. But it lifted me out of the grief immediately. It was like everything, this whole grief I'd just been through was gone. It was instantly gone, and I thought, my dad's alive, he's safe, he's fine. I don't need to go over there and join him. He's fine on his own, he's going to make it. Wow, it was mind-blowing, you know what I mean? And this was all in the space, in reality, of about 60 seconds, but it felt like about 20 minutes.
Oh, goosebumps, that's amazing.
It was crazy, it was unbelievable.
That's amazing.
And now, the second time I had it done, I went with Hilly, I said, we're good friends after that point. My brother's passed now, he took his own life, and about 2 years ago, a year ago, sorry, and I've said to Hilly, I've noticed when I want to find my family, like my brother appeared on the bottom of my bed as a little boy, and when I tried to get up and grab him, he'd go. I can't make him appear, or I'll ask him and I can't see him, I can't communicate with him, but I can communicate with someone for you, just like that. So I thought, it's my grief, and I've learnt in the past from my dad passing away, once I get rid of this grief, I can now see them again. So, and I won't be able to just command them to come, but I'll go outside and my dad will go, like, have a cup of coffee, and I'll go, oh, Dad, and he'll go, but at least I get to see him and stuff. You know what I mean? So I asked Hilary for help, and I said to her, I need to see my brother and stuff like that, and I was still grieving, even though I knew how to get out of it, it was still in me human side, it didn't want to let go. And so my brother, we done the second time, and she went to me, well, rather than do it like that, David, why don't we just open up and I'll show you where they are and stuff like that, the way we see them now. So if I say, I've got this lady here, did a house look like this, did a kitchen look like this, did she have this colour curtains, I can physically see her in her spirit world right now where she is now. So I wanted to see my brother like that, and she says to me, rather than do that, David, I'll just show you them all in a state of trance, and we'll see where they are. So I said, all right then, I know the procedure and all that, and I grabbed all the brands, and this time we did it, I never got deaf anymore, nothing like that happened, no one appeared. It was just like a blink, and as a blink like that, it was I was hearing this. She said something to me like, "Are you okay? You seen it now?" And I went, "Yeah, be quiet," or something. It was like I just blinked as I'm hearing this in the distance, and as I'm looking around like that, my whole family are sat. It looked like, you ever seen on the film The Titanic where you have the hallway and you step down the steps? It's all gold and rose oak and stuff like it. Looked like that, but it was little like Victorian couches with all like beading around them. My granddad, I remember really well. He was dead tall fella. He had a suit on, and he had his legs crossed sort of like that. And he was going like that to me. It was crazy. It was like, again, mind blowing. And as I just started thinking this is all real and stuff like this, is before I started my mediumship. I thought actually this is real now. This can happen all the time as easy as this. The belief came in me then. And then as I'm seeing him, I seen my brother. My brother was a little boy, and my dad's got his hand on his head, and my dad's going like that to me. And it was amazing. It was like a moment when I'm lost for like, again, 2 minutes or something. I'm lapping all this energy up and all this loving and all this. They're all alive and they're all safe. And everyone's there. It was like we're all in a hall waiting for me, and then the next one I'll get something speaks to the medium. And that's how I know now as well. When I'm communicating, it's more real for me and stuff like that. And yeah, so after that, she helped me loads. And on that same time where she was reading me, I'd started speaking about people I'd seen and stuff like that. And she started recognising it and saying to me, well, how do you know that? And how did you see that place where you were just describing then? And how did you see that? And I went, why? She went, well, normally someone will just appear through my face. That's it, just a shadow. Yeah. But she said, for you to see them all sitting down, and the last time you seen the blue man and all that, it's not normal. You wouldn't be able to see that. You must be a medium. I went, well, I see ghosts and I've seen stuff like that, but I've never communicated with them. I've never seen it like that before. And she went, yeah, but they're just things in your house and around the street. These are things you talk to. These are spirit, and that's the difference between. And I went, all right then. And then, yeah, she encouraged me to go and try, and that's where I met Liz, Kevin's mum, and stuff like that. And she recommended me and stuff like that. And yeah, and as soon as I said, right, I'm going to try and be a medium, and I passed my first message on, they were like, yeah, I do understand that, yeah. And even back then, I wasn't saying I've got a lady who looks like this. I was saying, your grandma's passed, yeah. Does your grandma look like this? She was this tall, she had a spot here, she had this. And I'm describing because I can physically see them as a daydream in my mind. And that was how it first started. And then people were like, yeah, and I thought, they're just lying to me. They're just, you know what I mean? They're just saying, yeah, because we're in a class like that and they want to support each other. Yeah. So I started stepping out to random people and stuff like that. And even my sister, funny enough, explained to her that I'm a medium now. She was like, no, you're not, David, and, you know. And she come to me flat one day and she was saying to me, well, I'll tell you what, as I've been telling her about psychometry, I'd just been doing the week before. So I'll tell you what, I'll give you an object or a picture of someone and you tell me about that person. So I said, well, I'll try. This was very early on. So she gave me a photograph, not even a real one, on a Facebook of someone she knew before. So I've looked at the photograph and I thought, well, we'll try. And I went, and I started seeing this man on a bridge on a motorbike. And I went, do you have a motorbike on a bridge? And she went, yeah. And bear in mind, my sister was expecting me to get it wrong. And I said, is this something to do with university? And I said all these mad things to her. And she was like, yeah, that's right, yeah. But she was stunned by it, you know what I mean? And then she said to me, she went, but I basically said, that's all I can get. And she said to me, but the man's not dead, he's alive. And I went, oh, right. So I knew then there was psychic abilities working on that. I'm seeing your memories in your auric field, and I learned stuff like that. And she was floored by it and then believed. And then even after that, I did my first show, and she came to that show, and she was just like, I don't even know who was there, David. It was like you weren't even there no more. And but she doesn't recognise me in that way, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but,
sure.
And even I didn't. I just let them take over and say, trust to take over and go with it. And the next day, I think, what was it all about, you know? But again, it shocked even my whole family. We were just like, you're a medium, it's not, you know, are you? And you know about my stories and things that have happened. But they were like, that's not mediumship, you know, that's just you, things happening to you, weird things. But now they fully believe in it, fully trust. And even my sister one day, when I learned to trance, she said, you can't do that. And I said, well, I'll show you if you want. And yeah, we sat in my flat, and I said, put the two chairs together. And you have to be in dark, and people have these red lights. I don't do any of that. I just do it. It happens. And I said, grab hold of my hands. I went, you do know Luke's going to come through straight away, don't you? So be prepared to see him. It's a brother. If you grieve and it's going to hurt you seeing him, but it'll heal you at the same time. She went, so look then. I grabbed her hands. I've looked at her, and she went, oh my God. Like, straight away. And she's seen him straight away, and then seen someone else who she knew. And I said, are you happy now? And she went, yeah. But even then she knew, you know what I mean? That is, even though it's too fast for them to develop like this, it happened anyway. Yeah. But it's because it was naturally in me, I believe. And the minute I said, yes, I'm ready for this, yes, I'll accept this and I'll do it, it was like, all that knowledge we just learnt, you boom, you're ready for it now. And I've advanced.
You've removed blockages along the path, haven't you? So you've, like that trance thing, you've kind of gone, right, well, this is real, so now I accept that, I believe it, and that's a block gone, and I want to do it.
Yeah. It's that you're right there with that block, because when you have that belief, because you've now seen it, it can help you in so many ways. So where they say, have trust it'll happen, once you've experienced it, you go, well, I'll know it happened because it happened for me before, and it's got a more powerful feeling to it.
The confidence is there.
What do you do from sort of finding your feet and some experiences happening to you to sort of jumping straight into giving performances and demonstrations to other people, or was it just one-on-one and then
so it was a little shop in Prescott where I used to go to, and there was just like people doing it on a Thursday, like a small open circle. It's not there no anymore, and Liz used to go to it and that, and we would all, and there was a few mediums there who were advanced, and I'd sit there and they'd go, David, would you like to give off anything? And I was not like this, I was shy, I was just like, no. I was a bit cocky, I was like, this is going to look weird. People, there's a good few looking girls, and then all of a sudden you'd be like, I'm going to look like a dickhead in here doing this. But once I got over that and thought, well, I'm seeing someone right now when I'm looking at this woman when she was talking, I seen this other person and I'm visioning it and I'm going, what's that yellow cheesecake about? What's that? And I'm getting all these things, and then once I started saying it, I started not giving a fuck then and started going for it. And they encouraged me to and that. And then once I started there, I started saying, well, I need to go other places, and I just expanded like mad then. And then I've met like hundreds of people now in different churches, different places. We're all friends and we help each other and stuff like that, and it's advanced so much because of it. But I think it's like hidden knowledge. I think it was already there. Maybe even I had a previous life where it was a medium. And it was all stored there. And the minute I woke up, the minute I went, oh, there's all your knowledge.
There it's gone. You know what I mean? But you've had to get out the way of yourself, though. That's the thing.
Did you, when you were sort of in this sort of free flowing, because I can imagine it would have been very exciting, and you would have like been carried away with it, like, whoa, this is fantastic, I'm giving these messages to people. Did you get any pushback? Did you get any like people who was like, who do you think you are, or sort of, or you're doing that wrong, you're not doing this right, or basically.
There are certain churches, what I won't mention, not far away from where I am, but I used to go to, and you have little cliques and stuff like that. So as I was developing, and I'm not there to say, David, do it this way, do it that way, and I go, okay, I'll do it that way. I just did it the way I wanted to, regardless of what people said. I was polite and stuff with it. I didn't go too far, so I was quite good at it straight away. And once I was a intermediate, like just a basic person, everyone was my friend. And then once I started getting a bit advanced with it and stuff like that, and people were talking about me, and this guy went to that church yesterday and we'll go there now because of it, I got more friendly with people. But then I started noticing the backlash of it, where people were like, well, no, and like, you get up and give a reading and you cough and get up and make you want to start to distract you while you're reading. It's something that you're not supposed to do in circles. You're supposed to be quiet, respectful. Or they'd say, like, they trigger an argument to make your brain then get angry, so then we thought, you can't communicate when you're in that state. And I've seen other people suffer it too, and I help them, and I say to them, don't let it trigger you. If you do, then your communication is gone. This is what you want, you know what I mean? And I've spoke to other mediums who say there is a click there is that. But there is one or two now that I go to where I've got good friends, and, they're very nice people, you know what I mean? And they're very helpful, you know what I mean? But,
So has there been any breaks since you got into this where you've come away from it, or has that led then into like, look, I'm going to do this as an income, as a way of living? I don't know. I mean, is this what you do now?
So in the beginning, once I started realising, people want to have private readings, I mean, that's weird. Once I started getting to that stage, I thought, I'm going to make a career out of this and I'm going to do well with it. But as time's gone on, I've met, I won't name them, but I've met famous mediums, celebrity mediums, watched them work and stuff like that. They haven't got the buzz I've got when I work. It feels like it's a TV show or something. There was lots of no's, not many yeses, you know what I mean? I won't go too much into it, but I went there thinking, this is going to be amazing, this guy's going to be on a different level, he's got TV shows, and it wasn't like that, you know what I mean? And it was, I think Spirit was saying to me, because there was a stage where they were saying, go here, go there, you've got a ticket for there, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll go there then. People were offering me it left, right and centre. I was like, oh, a good chance to go here. I think they were showing me that as if to say, this is what you wanted. Well, that's what that is. Do you want that, or do you want this? And now I've realised actually, maybe I'll have it as a career if I'm fortunate enough for it. But I'm not looking at it that way anymore. It's not a money thing anymore. It's more just like the knowledge, the excitement of learning. Helping others with it, and that gives you so much. It's all about feeling for me. But in the future, I don't know if like I've had people approach me and say, I've got this building, would you like to do an event in there? I've done lots of charity work, you know what I mean, for Alder and things like that. So and you get a big buzz out of that. But I've never spoke to a celebrity medium in that way and asked them what's this like once you change into this bigger atmosphere and that. But I know how much money they make per night and stuff like that, and I thought it isn't like what I'm doing. It isn't even a positive thing. Everyone's miserable there. There's people shouting and stuff like that, and it's like they're just doing a big hello everybody, and they're very showy and stuff like that. But there's not really. Oh, your mum's just said this to me, love, and then there's tears and this big emotion. There's none of that.
I think when you come across, I don't know, like the more sort of prominent and I don't know about Neosical, but nowadays there doesn't. Back in 15 years ago, there was a period where it was really popular, if you like, because there was Colin Fry, Tony Stockwell, John Edwards is still going, but he's around. There was, Doreen Virtue was big because she used to do all the angel stuff and all the rest of it. So there was certain names, but at the moment, I mean, I can't say I look, to be honest, but I don't see that much these days. I mean, there's a woman in America with a big white blonde hair.
Teresa,
what's it called? Yeah. But then there's a young thin gay lad who does the Hollywood Medium, I think he is, or something. Tyler Henry. So there's a few, but then you start to hear some stories that come out about him, and you just think, oh, here we go, right? Because like my thing was, because obviously just up the road from us here, we had like Derek Acora, didn't we?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Now the stories I've heard, I've got no way of backing this up, is when he was younger, he was good. He was very good. But and what I heard was his brother was even better, but his brother just didn't want to do it. He just not doing it. Blah blah. Derek was good, but then fell into the razzmatazz. I'll be the David Beckham of this kind of thing. And I can understand when you've got managers around you who polish this up and say, look, we could make this, but also tell them you're doing the right thing, you're helping people, but we can make this a bit of a show.
I see it more as because I've sort of got to the ego point and then thought, what's going on, David? And I sort of downloaded from then, this is very sacred what you're doing. What we're showing you is sacred.
Yeah.
Don't go to that point.
Get grounded.
But I think, obviously, say you've got a concept of a TV show, we've got to go here. We can't just go and record nothing. We have to do something, so we'll do a few jump scares and that, and you have to fake it. And I imagine with the amount of pressure then people land on them, that like next week we've got to go here and the whole research and stuff and all that. I imagine they thought, well, as a medium, you might have a terrible week and you think, my mood's low, I'm just not feeling it, so you cancel your reading and stuff like that. But with them, you've got to stay continuing going. You can't say no. So it's easier to cheat, I'd say, but I don't know. You know what I mean? I've never been in that
the only
position.
thing I'd say as well is I know Spirit can pull the rug from under you any time. If you're out to lying, it'll just go right. Which always baffled me, because you could turn up at a reading and literally nothing could happen. And it's like, and if Spirit wants to, it'd be like, I don't fucking think so. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Yeah. And what was I going to say then? But in the day as well, so I don't know if you heard of Van Prague.
I have it, James.
Right. So James Van Prague, and then I believe he might have had something to do with the programme with Jennifer Love Hewitt. What was that called now? Anyway, she could really see, the ghosts, and they used to come up to her and say, look, can you help me? This kind of thing. And I always used to think, whoa, if you could do it on that level. And, and I've always wanted to meet people who could do it on that level, because I'd be like, that must be fucking amazing. And also, it must be so easy to do it. Like, if literally someone walked in and just said, oh, can you tell Dave I'm here and blah, blah, blah. That I just thought...
It's never like that, yeah. But there's a lot of mediums who I've seen online say, these mediums who say they can see people, it's bullshit.
The Ghost Whisperer, I think it was called.
Yeah, but I think those people are not saying, well, they're assuming this is mediumship, we're all the same, but they're not realising there are mediums out there who can see. So that's how we can describe things. That's how we can get good, accurate information, because we can smell what it smells like. We're in that room, in that timeline right now, but we're still part of this world, so we can communicate with both. But a lot of them sort of like say that with that therefore you're wrong and stuff. I've seen loads of them online do it, and you're just uneducated about it, you know what I mean? But as for ghosts and people going into haunted buildings, for example, and going, right, there's a man here and he's angry about this sort of, and there's a few slaps on the walls and they record it on film. I've tried that before, and I have had hauntings in my old houses. When my dad passed, I was searching for him, I couldn't find him. I was attracting everything to me and I couldn't find him. I didn't know why. Back then I didn't know it was medium or anything. And I started speaking to people and they weren't talking back to me, so I'd have a woman going like that to me, and I'd look at her and go, can you go and find me that? What's your name? I was asking her all kinds of stuff. She wasn't talking to me, she didn't want to talk to me, and I'm thinking, Now I think, well, these people who did these TV shows who went into haunted buildings, if I couldn't talk to them, they were as real as day in my house, how come they can talk to them and send them back, go to heaven and all that?
Well,
it never worked for me, you know what I mean?
It makes you question everything.
They've refused, they've seen that place and said, no, I love my family, or I haven't finished this, I love my house where I live, and I don't want to give it up and gone, I'll be back, and left, and come back to where force the bodies to stay in a shape to form, and they're not interested in us. We're insignificant to them. You know what I mean? We don't matter. You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
well, I think it's a human perception that we think this is important.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or and like, cause like from our experience, if you like, it's like you said, why we're spending 100 years living here. That's like nothing to spirit. It's like, what are you worried for? And it's like, you know, like it's nothing. So the whole time thing. Now, again, you can read that in books, but until I'm in a position where I can say, okay, this happened, and now I'm going to tell you prove it.
Yeah.
So as you go along in your journey, you pick up stuff and you say, I can prove that now, or I've experienced that now.
Well, I thought, especially going back to before, and was in that heaven place. Now, I was thinking to myself, well, if that was, I remember the feeling. I was thinking, that's so amazing. If we reincarnate and we come back, why would you want to leave that place and come to this? It makes no sense. Why would you want to do that? But if you think about, like I was telling you before, that one day here is like a week there or something. Imagine that times by 1,000,000, and you've had all your fun over there. You're happy. You would get bored at something. You would think, right, I've had 9 lives or something. I've got to go back and find it because I want to feel that feeling again.
Do you know what? I think it was,
that makes
again,
sense,
I don't know if it was Wayne Dyer or another fantastic giant who was stood on the shoulders of giants. But the best way they described it was, he said, you're a spiritual being in a physical body, right? He said, but the thing is, so when you're spirit, what you're saying is, I want to know what it feels like to eat an apple or to touch a person, to make love to a person. Now, as a spirit, you can't have those experiences. Yep. So you jump into these meat suits to have these experiences.
Right now, I was actually talking to my mum about this the other day. Sometimes I get lost in a trance. When I'm just sitting here now, I know it's happening in the back of my brain, but it's mainly when I'm around my mum. My brother, who's passed now, wants to talk to my mum. So he'll step inside me and I'll be like, no. And I can control it. But he's my brother, you know what I mean? Yeah. And like, I don't like cookies, for example, but my brother loves cookies. Yeah. And all of a sudden I can't stop eating cookies. And I think, I'm sure he comes into me now because I can feel him, but I don't feel him come in. Or the other night, I heard someone, I don't know if it was my brother, I heard people talking, and I'm like, oh, listen, close down, stop this now, I want to watch this. And someone said, what was it, Lethal Weapon, put that on and leave that on, and go to bed. And I was thinking, what do you mean, leave it on? And it's like they wanted to watch telly again while I was in bed. It was weird, and I was thinking, no, that's a bit too real for me now. You know, you just go back to that world, I'll go back to this world, and you know what I mean? But it does actually happen, and they're there all the time.
That's
you know
amazing.
I mean?
So what I wanted to ask Dave, I was thinking, obviously, on your journey, obviously, so it seems like you've been sort of, although it's happened to you, you're sort of also self-taught. So you've had to practice what's it called. Did you ever find yourself going off to like development classes and courses of like trying to become better at it or trying to listen to other people?
Yeah, so mainly how it started is when I first decided, I am a medium now, I can talk to people and people give me validation for it and said it was correct. I never reached out to Hilary or anyone like that. I sort of just said, please, if I'm supposed to do this, tell me everything I need to. Give me it all right now, give me it all in one big go and show me how to do it and everything. And it was like they were telling me it's already there, you know what I mean? We don't need to teach you anything. As these things happen, you'll go, I know what she's talking about there, I can do that. And it'll just become, you know what I mean? So I always say to people now, yes, go to circles, go to all these places, but trust spirit more than anyone, not the person in front of you. Don't look up at anyone, just think, well, I'll be taught at my own pace, and the more I allow it to happen, the more I'll get. And a lot of people get stuck in that too, but the circles, I go to loads of churches and I've got loads of friends in different places, and I just go now and sit in the background, and when they have a demonstration and the open circle after it, I'll get up and give a message or something like that, and the people are like, oh, who are you? You know what I mean? I didn't know. You know, how do you know that? And it freaks people out and stuff, but I like that because it's my version of saying, well, here's my version of it, and here's, and I'm giving back for that, and I get rewarded for that.
Yeah.
I found in the early days, like you get disappointed a lot, actually.
Yeah.
So I went off to a shop what said they could hold. This was before I knew I could do anything as well, by the way. So like it was just more of an interest, and they said, oh yeah, we'll teach you how to be a psychic or whatever. And now, I don't want to completely knock it, because there is certain things, tools, what you think, well, that's good, like psychometry.
Yeah.
Right? You could, but what you can do is you can start to see who is picking up You know, because there will be people in the circle who are getting nothing, and then there'll be other people who are very sensitive to the energies, and they're like, "Whoa, that's quite impressive, actually, what you've just picked up off there."
Yeah.
And then, like, I always think, like when people talk about, like, say, chakras, and then there's all different things. There's people now who are saying, "Oh, chakras are bad, chakras are good," but what I found it give you a focus. Like, so, like, if you were meditating and you're sort of like opening up, if you like, right. But what actually you are doing is listening to someone else's teachings.
Yeah.
Right now, if you said to me now, I don't know if I actually agree with that, because I do my best work when I couldn't listen, I'm like, I'll just fucking work now, I couldn't give a shit. You know what I mean? That kind of attitude. Whereas some people will be like, oh, I'm just going to sit down, I'm going to open my root chakra, my heart chakra, blah, 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 and all that.
You know when you open up, I mean, again, everyone's different. People can have these experiences and say, this is my process of doing it. I literally just say, let me feel you close to me, and my dad or someone, my guide, anyone. I've got different guides who I've never met. And I'll touch my left hand, I can feel my left hand. And I know then, I'm open, you know what I mean? And then, it's not just for me. People say you should close down properly too, but I'm closed down right now, but I still pick things up, you know what I mean? It's just like, if I see something now to my left eye, I could look over there and ask who it is, but I don't acknowledge it, so therefore I don't open up to it, you know what I mean? But some people say they don't get that. They just, once they're closed down, they see nothing.
Do you know what I sort of had to because I've always been like self-taught and had to learn the hard way, if you like, how it was called. So like when I went through a period of like being psychically attacked, if you like, if you want to talk about this kind of stuff. But then what as well as being scared and fearful, and I went through a whole period where I even walked away from it all. And like even anyone who knows now, I don't even do it now. Do you know what I mean? I think if I wanted to, I could easily do it, but I don't feel that's my calling at the moment, you know, whatever. And but what I always couldn't get my head around was like, we come into this world, if you like, and for me, well, we were always protected.
Yeah.
Right. So my thought was, well, if I didn't know about the spiritual subject,
then
why would I ever have to protect myself, like kind of thing? But then on the other side of that, I thought, well, if you're opening yourself up to these energies, then maybe you do. So I was a bit.
Now this is where we start going down a different sort of route where I'm on about it. But I tell people now, because not many people know this. I went through an experience where I had poltergeist in my house, and there's a lot of people out there who don't get believed, who've really got stuff like that in their house, and they've got no help for it. You've got loads of people saying, do this and talk to it and do that, and that does not work, you know what I mean? So, and it'll only make things worse. So what happened is I'll tell you a quick story before my dad passed away. Everything was normal. I was going to work, I was a security officer, my dad was a driving instructor. We lived together in this 3-bed house, and I've come home one day, and my dad, his brother had being killed or was found dead, and his head was cut open and stuff like that. And my dad was traumatised by it. And my dad was a strong-willed guy. He wasn't emotional. He was very hard in himself and very knowledgeable and that. And my dad sort of believed in God, and we talk about stuff like that from time to time, but never in depth. Never talked about a ghost or anything. And my dad basically was hitting the bottle hard. He was drinking whiskey every day, and that wasn't like him. He never drunk. And I was trying to get him to, because I was in a state at the time, I was saying to him, why every time at 2 o'clock when I'm coming home, you're pissed out of your head, you can't even talk or nothing. It's annoying, you know what I mean? And then it just frustrates me to see him that way. So I was trying to help him, get him to come outside himself. And he basically told me that after he's seen his brother like that, it's damaged him now. So he said, I come home and it's in my mind, because he had to go and identify the body and that of his family. And after that happened, it was about 2 months, and then there was a space where there was 2 weeks after them 2 months happening. My dad's still drinking hard, and my dad, I was sort of ignoring him. At night, I was sleeping in my room, and weird things were going on. So I just thought, it's just a ghost outside, or I wasn't bothered, not going to hurt me. And my door started opening and stuff like that, and I'd never had that before at this time, so I was like, that's a bit different, and I thought maybe it's something scary or something, but again, I wasn't bothered by it. I just go to sleep and I was fine. So what happened after that? My dad, I'd spoke to him about it after about a week had gone by. There's only a week left now, all these 2 weeks. And I've said to my dad, can I ask you something, Dad? And he said, what? And I said, have you noticed anything weird in this house? And he went, oh my God. And the realisation in that man's face then, what are you talking about? And he knew what we both experienced it. And I didn't notice, never asked him, but my dad had like a camcorder in his room. And being in his room, noticed it and thought, that's weird. What's that all about? Never questioned him about it. And my dad told me that he'd been experiencing something waking him up in the night and shouting his name, and it sounds like his voice talking to him. And he said it was freaky and stuff like that, and he was scared by it. So he said, yes, I'm drinking because of my brother, but I'm also drinking because I don't want to be woken up in the night. It's frightening me. And he said, I get this weird danger feeling. And I was like, oh, God, this sounds like that demon story or something like that. And my dad said, I've been filming it at night so I can see what it is. And so I've said, oh, don't be stupid and all that. I said, but I was walking down the hallway the other day. I said, and I was going to make a cup of tea. We had a living room, a hallway, and then the kitchen. So as I've gone down the hallway, something entered me. Like straight away, like just straight into me, and I sort of felt like something. I mean, I don't know if anyone's ever been electrocuted by electricity. You touch a plug, it gives you this like water feeling where it's like that inside your body, like a wave going through your body. It felt like that, but not as strong as that, and it made me nauseous, and and I fell to my knees a little bit. And my dad's come out and said to me, "What's wrong?" And but he was drunk. And I said, oh, go away, and I'm fine and all that. And I'm trying to fight whatever this feeling is, but it felt like I was in danger. But I thought, I knew it was a ghost, but I just thought I couldn't see nothing, so nothing walked into me. It just happened. But I felt something go straight into me. So then I've carried on, and I told my dad that story. And my dad said, so you've experienced it too? And I went, yeah. He went, what do you think it is? And I went, I don't know. A week, the end of that week, I've come home from work at 7 o'clock at night. I was supposed to be coming home earlier, and my dad's closing on the leather couch what we had, and I thought, that's weird. My dad's normally not as closed, like he's getting up in the morning. Oh, that's weird. So I shouted Dad, I knew he was in, his car's there, and I shouted Dad, and not answering me. So I've looked up to the top of our stairs, and we've got a bathroom door there in the bedrooms. Dad, no answer, and I've heard this weird groan noise, so I thought I'll go upstairs and go and find out what's going on. Banged on the bathroom door because it's locked. Dad, are you in there? And he, so I've said, if you're in there now and something's wrong, I'm going to kick this fucking door in, you better tell me. Because I thought he was drunk and acting a bit, childish or something like that. I've seen people do that before. So, noise again. So I've kicked the door in, and he's laying in the bath. He's tried to get a shower, and he had a stroke. And he sort of lay there, he's been sick, and he burnt his body through the hot tap. And I think he tried to lean up and turn it off. And then he sat there since 11 o'clock that morning until 7 o'clock till I got home. So I thought he was still drunk, and my mind's not thinking straight. And I said to him, you better get up now and that. And I realised the way he was looking at me, that there was something wrong with his face. So I phoned the ambulance. They've come. They've got him in the ambulance. And I'm still thinking, what is going on? He's just drunk, or I've never seen anyone have a stroke before. And they told me when they put the machines on that he's had a heavy stroke, and said he's probably not going to make it. So my life then was gone. You know what I mean? It was weird. It was like it all come crashing down. That was the breaking point for me. And then we've gone to the hospital. I phoned my sister, phoned everyone, said get to the hospital now. They've took him in the room, they've come back, and they've said that he's basically going to pass away in 24 hours. So every 2 hours you'll see him deteriorate. So that actually happened. So my life's changed at this point. And after he passed away, I'd been still living in that home, and it felt weird to me because we were living there together. It was a lot of trauma to go through. And then my brother had his girlfriend at the time he was alive. My sister had a boyfriend, my other sister did, but I didn't. And I sort of was waiting there to sort of think, well, I know I can see ghosts. I need to know he's okay. So I started saying, like, closing my eyes, like, Dad, please come to me. Please just show me anything, just a glimpse, like anything at all, you know what I mean? And I couldn't get him at all. After about a day of doing that, I started realising that there was things on the landing. So I got to go to the toilet, and I'd put my foot on the step, and I'd look, what was that? And it just moved. And I thought, well, it's nothing, you know what I mean? It's just anything. So then I started going to bed at night, and the door was opening again. So I thought, it's that spirit who was in here before me dad. Maybe it's my dad's friend in the afterlife or something. And he can get me dad for me, and he can bring him in. We can communicate, because I know I can communicate. And then I started realising, after about 2 weeks of this going on, I started getting depressed. I started wanting to kill myself, stuff like that. It got really, really bad. I started really getting mentally ill and stuff like that. And then I couldn't ever find him. And in the end, it got to a point where this thing was stood at the top of my stairs, just like taunting me like that. I had like a banister rail going up, and then a banister that way, and it was hiding behind the banister and just looking out at me. And I was saying, go and get him now. I want to fucking see him now. And I was getting pissed off. It was making me angry. I didn't know at the time, but I know now, that this thing is like it wasn't a demon, it wasn't a ghost, it was something else, like a black shadow. This thing isn't going to get me, Dad. And it maybe spirit taught me, I don't know. I'd seen signs of it, and I said, this thing isn't going to get me, Dad. So I need to tell it to go away and stop communicating with it. So I did that, and then it started like running at me on the stairs, as I'm going upstairs, and I go, what was that? I couldn't see it wearing a black shadow anymore. Then I started getting educated on it. Well, I'm not bothered. And it was giving me this feeling like tonight when I go to bed, it might kill me in my sleep. All this type of thoughts I was getting.
Yeah.
But I thought, I don't give a shit. I want to die anyway because my dad's gone now. You know what I mean? I've got no one. And it was like that. I don't care. And a car accident thing and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And then, so it's basically done that. And then I've decided that I'm going to let go of it now. And if I can't find my dad, then fine. I know there's heaven, so I know he's there. I'll just trust in that. Once I did that, I started realising I'm feeling better again. So even though I'm still going through grief, I want to live again. I want to keep working. I want to live a life still. I knew then, because I could feel something inside me. And every now and again, I was watching Carl Pilkington on the telly one night, and I was laughing at it. And as I was laughing, I could see this like colour, like a purple colour, coming off me. I thought maybe someone's with me. And then I started realising that's my aura. That's what's like a bubble around me, you know what I mean? And as my mood's lifting, it's lifting my vibration. That same night when I was watching that, I decided I'm going to sleep on the couch. I turned over and lay on the couch, and my dad had a picture where it said, Dad, miss you and stuff like that, and the day he died. And as I said that, I know you're gone, Dad, and all that, but I know where you are, and I'm okay now, and I'm going to be okay. And I had this conversation to myself about it, and I understand now that there's something I shouldn't be talking to, and different things. As I said that, he appeared in front of me, right under the picture, only for 2 seconds, only there and then gone, but it was enough. He was smiling at me, and I knew then I'd lifted my vibration, and because I'd lifted him, he wasn't down here where my vibration was. If I raise it, then he's up here on this plane, and that's what I tell people now, that if you've got hauntings in your house, your aura is the only thing that protects you from them. This thing will stick to you and will keep telling you things, and you can call it whispering in your ear, you can call it whatever you want. It's reducing this bubble around you. When it gets so low, you get possession and stuff like that, and that's where all that comes from. So it's important that we don't talk to these things. We trust that this is what spirits are, this is what spirits are, this is what ghosts are, this is what demons are, and we stay away from these, and we don't allow ourselves, or we don't communicate when we're vibing this low. We only open up and communicate then.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? So,
Different level.
Interesting.
But you've got people on YouTube and that's saying, oh, you should speak to them and all that, but then as you're speaking to them, your aura's getting
You're
lower
lowering
and lower,
yourself.
and eventually you become them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They get life again because they want to be here again. You know what I mean?
Inviting that.
Do you think to connect with higher energies, if you like, whether that's loved ones or angels or ascended masters or whatever you want to call it, we have to try and raise our vibration and they lower their vibration, where we sort of meet? Because what I find is, it's like you could give someone a reading, if you like, and it's almost like you're grabbing snippets of everything. So I always imagine, like, when you're dead, if you like, all your energy's like just in like a say it's in a bubble, and it's all swirling around, and then the medium, what he's doing is he's like reaching up and grabbing little bits, if you like, or whatever he can, and like I'm picking up a radio signal when you're in a car, and you're driving through an area, and then suddenly you hear a bit, and then it goes off and fuzzy again, and then you pick up. Do you not find it's a little bit like that?
Yeah, it's. I get what you mean. Yeah, it's like, see, I've had physical right now in my home. There's a manifestation of It's like if you've ever seen heat, gas rising heat, and it's got this weird effect. That's in my house at the minute. I've not communicated with it. When I get up in the morning, especially when I'm in a dream state, it's there. And I've spoke to friends about it, and then I've asked, what you think it is, because it's not a spirit how I see them. There's no one in it. It's just it's about that big. Sometimes it's that big. My ex-girlfriend's seen it too. And now I realise that there are some times where I'm in a happy state, which is almost like a trance state or something, where I almost see it like an angelic figure, you know what I mean, that's guarding me or protecting me. It's in my own to do that, because it feels powerful. It feels more powerful than when I connect to someone's loved one, you know what I mean? It feels like that God feeling where you're a bit like, what is this? But it feels really good, you know what I mean? It's like a big bodyguard there for you. You can defeat anything, you know what I mean? That's cool. But yeah, so I see a lot of things like that. But yeah, connecting to them for people's loved ones, that's how I see spirit, like I was just saying, but more like a purple light or a blue light, and blue to me is like, oh, he wants to communicate, who are you? Talk to me then. And then that energy will sort of, you don't physically see it, but you see it moving somewhere in the corner of your eye, then it's in your mind, and it's passing on. I asked them, like, once, what's it like for you? You know what I mean? What is it like? And I was in a state of trance, and in my own, and I was saying, what is it like for you? I know what it's like for me. I close my eyes and I see images and that. What's it like for you? And it was like that misty hand, where it's like a gassy hand or physical manifestation of a hand, but moving, pushing itself actually inside your skull and trying to push inside your brain, which is the part of the soul that's recognising it. The soul speaks to the brain. Is passing it inside and trying to give you like a picture of something, but it's a moving picture, and it'll show you again Southport when you're walking, you drop the ice cream on the floor, and it's only 2 seconds long, but it's snippets like that. And the more you develop, the more you learn how to just switch it on. You build your energy up. The more images you'll be able to get at the same time.
When you're working, either one-on-one or with an audience, do you work with your eyes open, or do you close your eyes? Or
so most people, they have 1 or 2 ways of doing it. I literally open everything and just say, apart from trance, I don't do that straight away. I just say to them, this is what I want, is there anyone there? And normally, to be honest, when I've sat down, I already know, you know what I mean? So then I'll go, who's that person who got my attention before? And I'll find out who it is. And so someone will sit down, I love what's your name, yeah, sit down, this is what's going to happen. And by that time, in the back of, like, I sort of see my brain as like, the conscious, which is me talking now, and the subconscious, so as we're talking now, there are things happening in the subconscious. Right, yeah. The more you can become aware of it, the more you can pull things forward from it. So as we're talking now, there could be someone coming through, and by the time I finish talking, I'll go, oh, this lady was here just then. Yeah. It's like you're almost splitting time at the same time.
So are you clairvoyant in the way you work as well? Do you sort of watch the film in your head, and sort of, do you have like a knowing of like the information, what's coming through?
Yeah, so it's basically everything. The only one I don't get as much is clairaudience, but I do get it, but it's more just like, when I say to them, like, I'll say to them, who are you, to that person? Okay, show me what you look like, boom, quick image. This is the person's name, or these are the names I'm hearing. And then I'll say to them, how did you pass? And I'll start feeling the way they passed. And said it was something here, or if I'm not 100%, I know it was something here, it was like a cancer or something. You'll say that, yes, it was. And I'll say, is there anything you want to tell them before they go? And they normally then come in with clairaudience. I got a big high pitch in my ear, and I'll hear it somewhere in my head. Like I just said it. And it'll be like, tell them, I still remember the time they did this, or something like that. And you'll say it and they'll go, oh my God, that's my mum, that's what she said to me. So clairaudience comes in at the last minute, but most of the time I'm all of them, you know what I mean? But now I've got to a point where I've thought, yes, that's good, but I've started learning this other thing now, which was explaining before, where I picture there's the orange man inside myself, and I say, right, I know, I can't see you right now, but I know you can merge with that orange man. And sometimes you'll watch, if anyone's watched me work, you'll see my arms stuck still or something. They're there attached to me, like I've blended with them. And then I'll know I'm David, but at the same time I'll think, well, I'm Mark too, and I did this and stuff like that. Okay. And it becomes a stronger connection, you know. That's more difficult in a way, because you know, if you have to keep getting up one after another and going to other people, it's hard to let them go and get another one, you know what I mean? So most of the time I'll work with just knowing, feeling, seeing.
And do you have what you would class as a main spirit guide that you work with? Or do you just speak to anybody?
So in the beginning, didn't believe I had a spirit guide. I just say, anyone who can help me and stuff like that, I call out to anybody. Yeah. Now they've started making themselves known. So it was only about 2 weeks ago I got a new guide, and when I'm communicating, I'll 2, 4, 6, 9, 10, 1, 2, 12, 100, and I'll think, what is that? Who's calling that? And I was confused. Who's saying them numbers? Why? And I started writing them down, thinking they lost numbers or something like that. Yeah. Couldn't work out what it was. And then, and then people around me who were mediums kept saying to me, do you know Frank? I was like, I don't know Frank. Never met Frank in my life. Said to me, do you know, there's a man called Frankie, and he's saying something in his mind, like repeatedly. And they don't know what they're on about, but I know there's a man who repeats numbers in my head. And I started realising, maybe I've got a new guy called Frank, you know what I mean?
It's easy for me to say now, I should have said it at the time. Because earlier on, I was wondering if it was your dad, and I was going to say to him, who's Frank? But anyway.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, but anyway, because it's after now, but we'll forget that, we'll see. Because I want to talk to you a bit, because obviously, so we'll see you, because I'll tell you for why. I was going to say, is your dad like Frank Gallagher? Because that's the way it was like coming from. But anyway, there was called. So you have your guide, but what was I going to say then? What kind of level of information are you able to give the clients? Like what blows your mind? Because like if I do a reading or something, I mean, I always say you can't put a price on it. The feeling that you get, like when you get something, you're just so blown away. You're like, oh, this is fucking ace, right? So it's like I get dead excited. I'm like a little kid, me, and then I spend the rest of the day trying to work out like everything I've just seen and everything, and I'm like, this is fucking ace.
I'd enjoy that while you can, because I was like that in a couple of months ago. Now I'm not bored of it, but I'll give it, and I've got no emotion anymore. So I don't feel happy, don't feel sad. It's just normal, which is good in a way, because I'm not taking anything home with me. But I wish I could feel that. Like every now and again, if a person starts crying in front of me, you'll watch me when I work. A lot of people would have seen this, and I'm a bit like a psycho. I'm walking around going and smiling and laughing, and they're going, well, that's not funny, why is that medium laughing? But he's just said something, this woman's made her cry now. It's because I'm in a state of trance, I'm not me. So that spirit's going, oh, she loves that, and they're smiling their head off. I'm embodying who they are and stuff like that. But after it, I'll sit there and I'll go home and I'll think, what the fucking hell was all that about today? What was I saying there? That's weird, that. I forgot it, and I've got no emotion anymore to it, you know what I mean? But I prefer it that way now. So if anyone ever sees me work, you'll think, why is he not joining in when everyone starts laughing? He's not laughing. Or if you see me in open circus, you'll see that I'm on my own like a little weirdo, and I don't make any. I laugh when I want to laugh, and it could be the most inappropriate thing, but it's because I'm connected in, and I try and go in the deepest way possible. So if they think they just heard something funny, and you've got to remember, if you don't even notice, spirits are quite funny people. They know like jokes you've never even heard of, or they'll go, look at her saying that. They say the most quirky stuff, and you can't help but laugh. You know what I mean?
I've never really sort of met a spirit yet that's unhappy. Because they see from a different angle.
Have you ever noticed when you get a lot of people who've harmed themselves as spirits, and they've accepted they're in the spirit plane? Have you ever noticed that sometimes you'll be like, oh, and he looks like this, and he wants me to say this to you, and you're dead happy, you're in this buzz, this rhythm, and you're lost in it, and then all of a sudden you'll go, and you'll go, did he have a rope or something? Would you understand that? I've got something around my neck, and it drops the mood. And they go, yeah, he did, yeah. And then it'll go, boom, back up again, you know what I mean? It's like
but it's like a validation of what something you just need to tell them, that kind of thing. So when you sort of, like, because you'll know yourself, there's certain readings that you think, well, that was another level. You know, and then there's others you're like, oh, it's a bit mediocre. And then I don't know if you have this, I've been to people's houses and absolutely nothing's come through, and I just think, why have you done this to me? I mean, that's one of the reasons as well why I sort of come away from it, because I refuse to be that person who's trying to fucking
now if this is something that's never spoken about. You know, as you just said, I've done it myself. There's people who are very closed off, fully closed off, and they say, yes, I want a medium, and yes, I want these two ladies here, these too many, they want readings too, and you think, like, I can read all of yous, but for yous two there's a block for some reason, and yous two there's a block. And I still try and work with them now anyway, but if there's a secret way of getting them to open up the door and let me in, then you could say that to everybody, and it would fix the whole world's problems with mediumship. So when you go in a church and you go, no, love, I can't say that, you say, right, do this for me, close your eyes, do this, count to this sort of it, and fully up, you're open, it would fix everyone's problems. And I, believe it or not, right now, I will read people who can't be read, because it challenges me. And if I can figure out how to make people open up, and it's not that they haven't got spirit, it's that I'll go, but you know, man, he looked like this, and he says this, and you just went to this place, and you go, no. But mum, I want you, mum. I want you, mum. No one else but you, mum. And if they just think back and allow the mind to become unclogged a minute and go, did I remember a man like that? Oh, there was when I was a child. He could be the one who's needed to break the block and bring the mum through. And I tell people that, and I say to people, people have got friends in churches who are not reading and say, what should I do? I'm never going to read. And I say, stop going in there waiting for one person. Just say, anybody please. And if you can't, then I'm fine with it too. You know, I'm very grateful. But if you just can't, anyone come through, and watch how many times you get read. You know what I mean? Every time I go into church now, they read me every single time.
So you know when you're giving like an audience demonstration, do you normally can you literally say to us, look, I want to come to you or whatever, and sort of just give them, like, I don't know, first names, last names?
I've been lucky in a way. I always know who I'm talking to all the time. I've never been wrong with it yet. But a lot of mediums, they call it sat-naving, don't they? They go, my sat-nav's not working today. A lot of them, I've watched them work, and they go, I don't know who I'm with, and I know that's Tony Stockwell, the famous medium, he does it that way. I don't know if he still does now, but when I watched him work, he said, I've got this man, and someone takes him. I can do it that way, but I find when you do that, you get 20 people who put their hands up, and you're just like, listen, now, I know roughly about where they am. It's more difficult that way, I think, where I sort of from the beginning go, what is it about that person? And I'm not trying to look at them. Every slime minute, I'm going, there's someone's trying to get me attention to look at that person, and then something about the face, I go, I know that person, and I don't know that person. And I'm starting to build up stories in my head, and as there's someone else talk when I'm working, now can we have David up, and I'm in a team or something, I'll get up and I already have 50 things about that person before.
Yeah, you've already started picking up information. I mean, I know, like, obviously, listen, and, you know, they're more well known than me kind of thing. But we hear stories about all these famous ones, don't we? And there's a few knocking around about like whether it's Tony Stockholm and all the rest of it. And I've done it myself. I've been to different shows where they've given exactly the same message one show to the next show, and they start talking over there, and oh, sorry, it must be over here then. Because let's be honest, in people's lives, if you mention a certain few things, a lot of people can take it.
Yeah.
A lot, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, when you're younger, did you think about joining the army?
Yeah.
And did you have a friend who? And then you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, who?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Most people, I'll look and go, oh, the dad's here. The dad passed away. This instantly, I've got it before I've just looked at them a few times. It's that easy for me at this minute in time with this guy called Frank. But those close people, I find that I can't get the person, so I'll look at them and I'll go, oh, you tried to do this the other day, and it's psychic field I'm building into. Once you start saying to them, did you do this the other day? Did you go on a bike ride and you fell off the bike and you hurt your left leg or something like that? And they'll go, I did, yeah. And they think you're talking to a spirit. Once you start shocking them, the aura opens up and spirit starts getting invited.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I always say, and that's why I know now, watch people and they'll go, they're not talking about spirit there, they're talking about things they've done in their lives.
Yeah,
that's psychic, you know what I mean? But so somebody doesn't know, who just goes and watches a medium, they go, that's amazing, how did he know that?
Yeah.
But they should be saying to people, I'm a psychic, I'm not a medium, or I am
Yeah,
a medium.
yeah.
Learn, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I only say, I'm getting this psychically that you did this and that, and then I go, oh, there's a lady, you know, and it's because they started to open up more and
Yeah.
accept this guy could be real, you know what I mean? He knew that. How did he know that? But
Yeah.
again, as you said, I constantly testing myself. I don't just go, I know I can talk to the spirit, so that's it, I'm happy with it now. I always say, tell me something I could not know, and I laugh at my head about it. And sometimes they go, I'm not sure about that or something, but I'll go, do you know someone else who's like that? And they go, yeah, but it's not the spirit you were just talking about, you know. I'll go, that's fine as long as you understand what I mean. But I always push the boundaries constantly and say, like, say a word you used to say, you know, like something in Liverpool, somebody go, hey lad, or whatever, and that's easy. But you might say, you could say, here's Big Johnny, or something like that. My uncle used to say that a lot. Yeah. So I'd wait for a medium to say to me, oh, I know, man, he keeps saying this. Like, if you say that, there's nothing that can disprove it. Doesn't matter if you talk about the way, if you say that word that it was his nickname, the way he used to say it, it blows your mind.
Yeah,
and I always say to spirit, me guys, please let me get that stuff before you give me all the other stuff. Just give me that, you know.
It's like the golden nugget, isn't it? Can I just ask then, Dave? So, like, you know, let's say, like, you know, like say we're sat here, or you'll be out, you could be having dinner in a restaurant or wherever, you know, your everyday life, if you like. Do you ever, like, sort of feel like you're picking stuff up, or you want to tell somebody something, or do you hold back and not say it, or?
Yeah, so all the time. I always say this to people, and people don't understand really what I mean. Sometimes I say, like, I've had friends in the past say, I've said, the universe, spirit, everything is constantly talking all the time. And they say, well, what do you mean? It's constantly whispering in your head and you can constantly hear voices. And I say, it's not like that. Once you accept the subtle sounds like the 111 thing or something, and you say, right, thank you for that, then you'll see it again, or something else again, you go, thank you for that, thank you for that. It gets to a point where it's constantly doing it all the time, and that's when you sort of like, you get deep into it. So when I go out to a restaurant or something like that, I'll get these universe things talking to me, and it gets to a point where I go, right, no, I want to calm down now a minute. I thank you for the signs, but I don't want it, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But in the beginning, you're excited about it. You're like, show me a robin flies past you. Show me a seagull, then a seagull flies past you. It gets to ridiculous, you know what I mean? You start realising that this is on a different scale, but you have to close down. You have to say to yourself in a point, because you'll start feeling not mad, but you'll feel like you're not even part of the room no more. You know what I mean? It'll feel like, and you're not yourself no more and stuff like that. So you have to say to yourself, this is my time. This is the time I'm going to use for that. So yeah, I do pick up all the time anyway, but not always spirit. It's always just what did you mean by that? Then she meant this by it or something. It's little things in my mind that I'm constantly getting said about me, or the universe talking to me and that, but I have to blank it out. So that's what I was on about before. You got the conscious, subconscious. I'll say subconscious, not right now, and I just use the conscious, you know what I mean? What's here now, you know what I mean?
Do you ever question, like, sort of like the information you're getting, as in like when you're trying to explain something to somebody, do you have to try and like work it out, or why am I being showed this kind of thing, or? Yeah,
so sometimes if it's I don't know, sometimes like some spirits are very excited to come through. Sometimes they don't feel low energy, but they feel like they're not sure whether they want to come through, or I don't know, like say they were quiet on Earth, they never really spoke to anyone ever, they were just quiet men or women. I'll get that impression on me, and then when I do, I'll be like, okay, so they were quite quiet, they never really opened up, and yeah, that's right. and then they'll show me like I don't know, a Mars bar falling off the side, and I'll be like, I'm not going to say that. That's weird. What's the Mars bar? Sometimes now when you get that low spirit, especially in the beginning, I used to get it. I'd be like, why you show me that? And now I don't do it like that. I just say to them, I'm seeing this, this, and this. Would you understand why all them three things are being shown to me? And sometimes people go to me, no, I don't know. You know what I mean? But at the end, they normally go to me, especially at the end, they normally go to me, I know what you're on about now. This happened or that happened. So if I'm confused by it, I just give it out anyway and say to them, you work it out, because it's their memories. You can do it where you say, right, show me it again, show me why, and they'll give you more examples of what they're trying to send you in picture images. But you'll burn yourself out doing it, you know what I mean? So I just say, right, this is what I've got. And at the end, if it's a private reading and they paid me for me time, I'll just say, right, what do you want to know about this? And I'll really dig deep and go, right, come on and get close to me now, show me really close to me what it is, and then it'll come, you know what I mean?
Can you sort of tell when it's like you're picking up psychically from someone, and then when actually a spirit's joined you?
Yeah, so psychically, basically, is people's emotions, what they've been feeling, but it won't be like say they've just booked an holiday to Magaluf. You'll see that, you just booked a holiday, yeah, but you won't be able to tell them when they're going on that holiday or something. They won't be able to, unless they physically said it in a time frame. But spirit communication, you just know, like you can just feel it, like straight away. You can say, "Oh, you've been sad yesterday, and did this happen to you yesterday? Oh, you just lost a dog or something like that," and then you'll go, "Oh, she's here," or something like that, or I'll feel like, "Oh, I get like Nan in my head, Nan's here," or something like that, and then I'll see like a blonde hair up to here and a bit curly and stuff like that. She's a larger lady, and I'm getting it in my mind as I'm still talking to her, and then it's building up, so the clairvoyance is starting to kick in, you're breaking away from psychic, and then you stop talking about the person, you start talking about this person, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's interesting, because I know sometimes I think sometimes what you can do, you can start off with, like I used to call it like a link, which is like a psychic link, if you like, but then sometimes when you feel spirit have come close or something, you can start to feel like, I would quite often feel a name, but I would say, oh, I know, like it's 4 or 5 letters, which is a weird to explain, but it's like I can feel 5 letters, and I know it begins with an M, and I need to mention Mickey to you, and it, it's this kind of thing, and it's like, and you're like, whoa, but it's hard to explain that to someone.
The worst is when I'll go to them, like letter F. I'll go, what's F mean? Tell me, and I'll be saying it in my mind as I'm going, and you know this about them, love, and then I'll get F, and I can see it in my mind like a purple light, and I'll go, what does F mean? And then it's Frank they're trying to say, but for some reason my mind won't say the word Frank, or for whatever reason. And I'll go, would you understand a name by the letter F? And they'll go, yes. And then at some point throughout the reading, I'm lost in it. I'll be talking about something, and I'll go, oh, Frank's been mentioned, but that was the F, like that.
Yeah,
so
you might say the name later.
It changes. No readings are ever the same. They're always different.
But again, because I think people are always after, like, the validation and the whoa bingo moment, if you like. Yeah. So you want to try and deliver that. But I tell you, one of the things like sort of I've always, even more so than giving readings or giving messages, if you like, is I've always wanted to try and explain to people how to read energy, if you like. It's like how to read, but I suppose everybody's different, but I wanted to explain to people, what's happening for me. Mm-hmm. Right, so like what's it called? So like, if why we're sat here today, right? We've just been sat here for a bit. Mm-hmm. So like, I know, like as I'm sat here, I've got images and I can feel stuff, in my head. And now even without trying, but what's it called? So one thing that's not left me is I feel like I've got like a belt and it's tied around my chest here, but I don't feel it was to do with your dad. Right, of a heart attack. I feel like I want to talk about someone who passed very quickly, like with a high impact to the chest area, like it happened very quick, like crushing to the chest, that kind of thing. Now, for me, like so if you were sat there and said, oh no, I don't understand that, right, then what I want to do is I want to dig deeper. Now, sometimes you don't get a chance to do that with a client. I want to sort of say, no, look, I know what I've got. So now I want to know why I'm getting it, right? So I want to dig deeper, right? Do you know what I mean?
But over enough times where you've dig deeper and you think, right, I have to get deeper, and it burns your energies, you're doing it, you can just say, right, No, I don't understand. You don't understand the crushing feeling in my chest, but also that person doesn't understand what a heart attack feels like. So I'll say, would you understand then that I've got some kind of pain here because it feels this way, and you describe the feeling you're getting, and I go, oh yeah, did I have an heart attack, or it was something here, or it was his lungs, or something.
And I know what's it called, yeah, and I agree. But I see, like if I was working there, like if I was talking to you now, and I said, look, I've got this with the chest, and you went, oh yeah, my dad passed with an heart attack, I would have to sit here and say, no, that's not what I'm on about. Because I can feel that is not who I'm talking about, right? So I would have to be honest with you, and I'll say, I know you want to accept that, but I'm telling you as I'm sat here, that is not who I'm on about, right? So, and that's what would frustrate me, because...
So would you say that I've got two spirits here, or would you say I've still got the same one?
No, so like what I'm saying is now, it's like just as I'm sat here, like what's good, like so for me, I do want to go towards the name like sort of Mickey being relevant, right? But I also want to feel like I've gone to someone who's gone to like the spirit world very quickly, a high impact thing, and it's also like crush the chest. This is not a heart attack. This is a high impact collision to the chest. You know, that kind of thing. So if you said to me, oh yeah, my dad died of a heart attack, I'd have to say to you, I'm not accepting that.
Yeah, but that's fair though. So somewhere in the back of your subconscious, you would sort of already know what it is, but you'd be like, is it that? Is it that? Tell me again. Show me again if it is. That confirms me. So I'm in a crash. It's not a heart attack, I'm in a crash. So then that's fair. You would be saying to them, I don't feel it was an heart attack, mate. I do feel like I'm not getting it. It will come to me, but something's happening here. And as you do this and you can feel the emotion, you'll see it in your mind, or you'll just know it in your mind. Bang, I hit something. And you go, did he hit something, or was it a crash? You start feeling it, don't you? You start seeing it, but you as the medium who's seen it knows what it is before you've even said it.
And that's what I said. So, but you know as well, people will stand in front of an audience, if you like, and someone will say, oh, I can take that.
Now that's because...
And you're like, no...
Yeah. But as the medium, you should be challenging yourself and saying, I'm sorry, love. And sometimes I've seen them do it. They go, I do really feel strongly that I'm not with you. I know I'm to the right of me or something. So they should stick with that. But obviously, you get up on stage, everyone's looking at you. If you're not confident...
Oh, it's nerve.
Yeah, so it's easy for them to just go, yeah, I'm with you, love, and I'll tell you what you want to hear. But a lot of people put their hand up and say, I know that, and that's why 20 people put their hand up. And so they think, well, I don't know this, but I'll say it because she'll come to me and get me people, you know what I mean? That doesn't work, though, you know what I mean?
No, so, like, for me, like, I know people stand up on stage and they give off like that, but for me, like, I'd want to go deeper. Like, for me, like, I would go back to spirit now and say, right, why are you showing me that? Right, you know, like at the moment, like I'm seeing there like Mighty Mouse, right, and I'm saying, here I come to save the day. I can hear that in my subconscious, in the back of my head, right, like so I've got a load of stuff going on, so I know now, look, I've got something coming through for him here, right. Now for me, that's more important for me to understand what I'm getting than even to give you that message.
Of course, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because that's how much it means to me. Because I'm like, okay, you know, sometimes I can understand exactly what it is, right? So, like I was telling you before, so like I had someone who got in touch with me yesterday, and they wanted, oh, what did my tarot card say to me? And I'm like, oh, fuck it, I can't really, I don't give a shit kind of thing, right? But then, so I closed my eyes, and so straight away, you know how fast it happened? It's like in a second. And I think in the 5D realm and everything, things happen like that so quick. So very quickly I saw 2 apple trees, a sheet, I saw Oprah Winfrey, I saw a little kid, a little black kid on the sheet, and then I saw a judge's hammer being whacked down like that. But the thing is, in that second of that flash, I knew exactly what that meant. Right, so I knew straight away. So I said to the thing, I said, you know your missus who you go out with, is she a short black woman with curly hair? I said, and she got a kid with another man. I said, but they've separated, but they're still connected because of the kid. I said, but there's a legal case coming up around her. I said, and it's about to happen. I said, but she's not going to like the answers what she gets. I think she's after child support, but she's not going to get it. I said, so just bear yourself because that's coming.
So spirits are showing you, right? What's the quickest way we can show them this? What we mean, and they're giving you it in ways with signals, little signs of things.
So just a flash,
trigger things in your mind. Where you go, Oprah means this to me, or this is what's coming to you when I see that. This. It's like watching where they do the psychometry with pictures where people of artists have drawn. You go, oh, you must have been feeling like this that day. It's just things coming to you, but they're trigger objects, aren't they? And spirit use them.
Yeah, and this is where I think energy is intelligent.
Yeah, it's very
and well, you know, and also everyone works differently. And this is what I said. So, like for me, it's just quickly in that flash, and it's like tell them that. Now, if that happened all the time, every time, blah blah blah, I'd probably be making a lot of money travelling around the country fucking doing that. But do you know what I mean? I also have to be honest and say it doesn't always work like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And also as well, like I said, I don't know if I'm drawn in that way, but I also know everybody's different, aren't they?
I have had one private reading before, which I read a friend, and then she came in after it, and I'd started pulling. She asked for cards. I said, I'll pull a few cards then. And I do like, you know, tarot cards, they mean one thing or another, that's upside down the right way. But there's also intuition reading. So when you get intuition reading, you now are connecting the cards to actual life. It's not spirit telling you, the cards talking to you in a way with her aura. They say, oh, you must have did this on it, and it's got something to do with this. And I go, yeah, it did. So it did that. And then she was demanding things of me. And as she was doing it, I don't know what it was, but my gut instinct was saying, let's not do this one. I was thinking, what do you mean? I've just done the cards, it's fine, just like anyone else. But I don't know what it was, but something was going on inside of me. And even though I was still getting people, like I had an older lady I was talking about, described it, and she went, yeah, I understand that, but can I ask you about this? And I was just like, do you know what? And I just refused to do it. I gave her money back and said to her, I just can't do it, you know what I mean? It's the only time that's ever happened to me, but I trust now, whatever they're telling me about, well, for some reason don't do this, I don't even ask why, I just say, like, fair enough. But luckily it's only happened to me once. But I think if you go, like, you see people go to pub readings, don't you? Yeah. Everyone's pissed out of their heads, and they're all talking, the energy is low. That is, so as a medium, I don't know how the mediums do it or what they're doing. I could not read people that way. So any events I do, I always say, no alcohol, please. You don't be drunk when you're doing it, otherwise you won't be sitting there. When you do it like that, it's such a better reading, you know what I mean? Because everyone's positive and you know, not vibrating low and stuff.
Do you find yourself that you've worked with like divination or whatever they're called, tools like tarot or pendulums? Have you gone through all that kind of thing? And
it's not something I like. I've got loads of tarot cards. I do offer them to people if they want them, because if there's ones about love and everything, and they'll say, oh, I want to hear about this, so I've got different ones for that. But I try and focus more on confirmation of the person I'm talking to. So I'll say, right, how about we talk about this person? Yeah, that's this person who died or something. And I'll say, right, they want to let you know this, and that's more like, oh, do you know what, I needed that answer as well, or I was worried about that next week. That matters to me more, because it's a real thing, where a tarot card is just, it matters to them, but it's up to you. You're paying me for my service, so I'll give you what you want, you know, and that's it. If you want cards, I'll give you cards. If you want messages from loved ones, I'll give you a message from a loved one, you know. Some people are different, aren't you know, so I say my most important is trance mediumship and me clairvoyant, that's it, you know, and psychic abilities for me. But for you, if you prefer cards or whatever, I'll happily go with that with you, you know what I mean. Or if you want the best experience, go with clairvoyance, you know what I mean. So
how's the what's happening around you at the moment, as in the diary? Are you booked up?
Yeah, so at the minute I'm currently moving, so I had about 20 bookings, not a lot, and I decided to cancel them all until I've got myself settled in my new home. But I'll be honest with you, I do get a lot of people asking me for private readings, and I'll be honest with you right now, even though I had them booked and was going to do them, I'm not feeling, people know watching this, you know what I mean? I've said, oh yeah, and I said, I'll be doing it next week and that, but until I get to a point where they're telling me, right, let's do this lady's private reading or this man's, like I did before, I just go with them. So I said, right, you don't want me doing them clearly at the minute, because I can't be bothered, you're not giving me any reason. Plus I'm moving, but I still could. For some reason though, when everyone says to me, do you want to come to this charity event, do you want to come on this stage and do this? Yeah, I'll go. And it's brilliant. So at the minute, for some reason, I ask them, what do you want me to do? And it's like demos are the thing for me at the minute, for some reason, you know what I mean? But,
very good.
But if someone said to me, I'll give you £1,000 right now to do me a private reading, I'd still say no, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. And I think the spirit do that to you as well. They sort of guide you, or for what it's hard because you feel like you're saying no to everyone, but it's like sometimes you just feel like, look, I don't want.
Well, there'll be a reason, won't there?
That's the thing. The charity events are free. I'm booked for a few churches around Liverpool at the minute. I just had someone the other day I work with who's become my friend now and said, I can recommend you to this person, this is brilliant. And he's helped me out, loads of people have. So it's ways of the universe saying, we're going to meet this person's going to help you with this, you're going to help them and that. And I just let the water, it's like being in an ocean, just let it flow. I'm going that way, I'm going that way.
That's the way.
Because then you don't get stuck in anything, you know what I mean? And now, since I've done that, I'd never been booked at a certain church before. Now I'm booked at that church, and I'm only getting 20 quid for it, for me fuel. So, but I could take £50 a reading, or whatever you charge. I charge 30. But you could take anyone off you or anything for a private reading, I'd still say no, because for some reason I want to be in a church. You know what I mean? But at a certain point, they'll go to me, right, enough for that now.
So in your everyday life, do you have to do a full-time job as well, or do you just concentrate on this? Or
yeah, so at the minute, I had like a small business, so that was sort of keeping me afloat, and yeah, I'm sort of trying to make this pay a little bit. But I'm okay, to be honest with you. Yeah, so okay. I'm not rich by any means, you know what I mean?
But yeah,
I get enough to eat, and that's it. You know what I mean?
So what do you see? If you could say, if you could see your future or predict your future, where do you think? Or
I have seen my future. Okay, I do often say to them, let's go in that dream world for a minute. Let's I'll pass an hour by. I'll sit on a chair in my living room. I'll go in a state of trance, and it's like I'm wandering on, and I'll be with my brother. Like. My brother, funny enough, he lives in an, when he first passed and I'd accepted and I got rid of the grief, I cried, everything around me, I got 50% better. I started seeing him more clearly, and in my trance or in my meditation sessions, he'll take me to his home where he lives, and he's got like this little white house with a thatch roof and a green door, and he teaches people to play, he teaches kids in the front garden. I don't know why, but that's what he does. And sometimes when I'm there, he'll take me somewhere else, and I'll go, where's this? And he'll go, this is you. You know what I mean? And I'll think, oh, like in the time I'm going, wow, that's amazing. I can't wait for this. But then when I come back, I stop myself and say to myself, no, David, we're not going to focus on that, because at the same time that they only show you so much. You know what I mean? They won't show me everything. They won't show me tomorrow. If you don't do this, this is going to happen. But if it's dangerous, they will. But at the same time, they'll let me see snippets of my future. It's like, oh, because I need that, mate. It's like I'm not patient, I'll be honest with you, I'm not. If I know something, I want it, you know what I mean? And there are things that happen, you know what I mean? Like right now, if I meet someone, I know a few things about them psychically, like, hey, do you do this? And you go, and as you get to know them, they haven't mentioned it, so you think, right, that's something in the future. Yeah. I used to tell people this stuff, but then seriously, people start thinking you're a weirdo and start thinking, what are you on about? And then if it happens a week later, they go, you said this, you're some kind of witch. Have you put a spell on me? Do you know how many people thought I was a witch like a couple of months ago? Especially when I started saying I could trance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They were like, what do you mean you can show? And then one of my friends seen the angel fella, and because he doesn't look human, he's got bigger eyes, big blue eyes, and that. He told them, but to someone who he didn't explain it fully to, they went, what do you mean? Sorry, because
I think we said that off camera. Could you explain the angel just so the viewers can understand?
So as a trance medium, when I first started with this, there's like an Aboriginal man who's basically like Australian. He sits, the way I see him, he sits on a desert on literally a beach deck chair. I don't know why he's got that. And he's only short with shorts on, and he's got like a little hut. And when I go into the state of trance and I say, right, this is what we want to do, I'll take a minute to prepare myself, and I'll see him, and then in my mind, and then when we connect with hands and we do the trance, within a few seconds, you'll see that man. But how I see him in my mind, like we're in this room now, when you see him, he'll look darker at first, and then the more you stare, the more he goes like gold, and he's got all wrinkles in his face, he's got bushy hair. You'll go, what is that? But because he's not human, he's got bigger eyes, big blue eyes. His face looks quite weird. If you look on Google, angels according to the Bible, you'll see things that don't look human. You know what I mean? Yeah. And people mistaken that. They expect to see this, bigger comfort. It doesn't work like that. Yeah. So then it's shocking. And because he's a higher energy, because I'm in a state of trance, and you've never seen nothing before, it makes something happen inside. It's probably the same way you've seen that other thing. And you go, what is happening? Is this really happening now? And your mind tries to stop it, and then I'll say, I tell people when I start, allow yourself to see anything you want. Tell yourself right now in your brain, I'm happy to see this, I want to see this. And you've already said it in your brain at all hour. And then when they do it. And then after basically the angel guy comes into me, he'll step out of me within about 5 seconds, he'll smile, he'll go. And then it's like he does something to my body where it prepares me for it maybe, or energizes me for it or something. And then your loved ones will step into me and show themselves again, overshadow the face, you know. And then, so when I've done that for friends and they tell other people, hey, Dave can do this, and what have you, and I've gone, oh yeah, I can, yeah. They've not told them the full story like I told them, so they go, what, this black fellow with like, black demonic faces come through, he's got big blue eyes, and he was like powerful, and they give you this horrible feeling, he's a witch, he's doing black magic. But they don't give you the chance to they just judge you rather than say, actually, no, that's not what happens. You know,
people do judge from fear, though, all the time.
Once you start talking to things above fifth dimension, above that, it starts getting to a point where you know yourself when you communicate with them, you think, oh, I don't even feel like me anymore. It's weird, this, you know what I mean? Or you're in the presence of something more powerful than we can just about handle. So they have to lower theirs a little bit so we can marry them. But even then, we're still like, I don't feel good, you know what I mean? But if you trust and believe that you're in safe hands, you're protected.
Have you read or seen a bunch of Abraham Hicks?
I've heard of him, not read of him.
Well, she's well known.
It's Esther Hicks, and she brings
Esther Hicks, and she brings through Abraham.
Yeah. I know what you know about
and
that.
And Abraham talks. Now, to watch it, at first when you see it, it looks very funny, but then you think she couldn't remember and talk like that. It's very profound, isn't it? And there's another fella who does it. I don't know if his name's Bashard or something, and he's actually a Hollywood like executive producer or something like that, but in his spare time he channels people through and they talk.
Now the problem with it is, because I've seen two of them now who've done it the way you've said it. So trance covers a whole spectrum of different things. Mine is transfiguration. I've never done it that way yet. That's only because I choose to do that though. So I say, right, this is what my intentions are, this is what I'd like of you, please, and they do it. But I could also do it the way you're saying it. But my belief now is to try and change people's minds. I could tell you anything you want about your family and you go, wow, that was an amazing reading, and you cried and everything, but there's nothing like seeing them again. It'll unlock your mind, and to a point where you can't think for about a week after it. You'll not be able to forget it. You'll be like, this really happened, and you'll tell people and go, no, you go, well, I did, you know what I mean? And you can't get it out your mind. It's like seeing an alien or something for the first like that. Imagine that, what that'd be like. So I focus more on that. Now the other trance mediums that I've seen work, if you didn't believe in anything at all, you just thought, maybe it's real or maybe it's not real, and you watch someone, let's be honest, I don't know about you, but when I've seen them work, it doesn't go, wow, there's a little young woman who couldn't speak like this big loud man. It doesn't sound like that. It sounds more like, it sounds like you're putting it on. So to a skeptic, it looks fake. As a medium, we know it's real. You know, we know it's possible. We know it can be done. But these people can't see the spirit inside of you. You know what I mean? So they don't know if you're just putting it on or whatever, which is still good at the same time. But I think that trance mediumship, in that sense, is good for believers. It's not good for skeptics because it'll put you off. You know what I mean? But if they focus on transfiguration, there's no denying that. You'll never. It's one of them things you'll never be able to forget about for the rest of your life. You know what I mean?
So just elaborate on that. Have you had to deal with skeptics or people who've said, oh, what a load of bollocks, what a load of bullshit, I don't believe it, prove it?
So up to now, everybody that I've read for has come to me, not the other way round. The only one thing is, there was a man at a scrapyard who was getting parts off, and he was just nice fella, and he was saying, oh, where are you from, stuff like that, and I said, oh, I'm a medium, and that, and he went, what? And I started talking about his mum, and because he said to me, well, what do you see around me? And I said, oh, opened up, there's a lady like this. And he shed a few tears and walked off, you know what I mean? And then loads of great things came after that, you know what I mean? And he ended up working in the cafe for the event and all. He set loads up. So it was like the universe brought him to me, you know what I mean? I'm a big believer in that. But so he was a skeptic at the same time. I have met skeptics, but they've never been difficult, you know what I mean? So they neither watch your work, and even if they don't get a message, they think, oh, how do you know that? And they got a friend who's just read, and they go, well, is he real though? And you go, oh yeah, how do you know this? And they know that person. Then people don't normally ask you for readings because they don't want to bother. But sometimes you'll get someone who's got a little bit of interest, and then you could say, if you can describe to a skeptic what their parent looked like, or their loved one, or their family member, whatever, the things they liked, and you can get 5 good things, 5 really solid things, then everything else you say does not matter. And it turns them into a believer. Not, I'm going to run to the hills and say mediums are real. It just lets them walk away and think, well, it could be real. And that's what you want, you know what I mean? Because that's what helps people. If they know this, you know yourself, when someone passes away, if you're a non-believer, you think to yourself, that's it, I'm never going to see them again, they're gone. That's it, life isn't fair, it's horrific. And then your aura starts getting depleted and stuff like that. But if you know there's an afterlife and you've seen it, or you've got some form of belief in it because someone's been credible, you know, you've got hope. And hope's good for the future, you know what I mean? Hope is what the whole, when I was on about before with the heaven place, one thing that I knew when I go back, or I thought I was staying there, to be honest, but if I have to go back, or when I was asked, you know, given the options, you want to turn around now and go back and you won't get your body back, and I thought, what was the point of this? There was no like, oh, you believed in Jesus or you believed in Muhammad, so therefore you're going to heaven now and that's why you're here and this is brilliant. It was more about, what have I learned, what have I met, who have I met, what's happened. It was about the things I've done. That's what it was about. And it was weird how there was no big meaning to it. I was just there. And it was just like, well, this is what it's about. When I come back, I was traumatised. So my friends were all just like, oh, what's going on and that, and I forgot about it for a minute. It was like I was just being quiet. I was just walking around, and people thought I was in shock, but I wasn't. And the next day I told my mum and dad about it, and they'd be like, whoa. And then my mum and dad had also had weird experiences when he had an heart attack and stuff, so we had similar knowledge about it, and we spoke about it, and even in there, it's just fascinating, you know what I mean? And now, I wish I could show everybody that, and I even say now when I'm in states of trance, you know, where how about we show people just a glimpse of it, just a snippet of it, that feeling when I got, give them that feeling, and they'll change immediately. I'm telling you now, if I can't do it that strong yet, or to a point where I could just go, right, here we go, bang, it's done. I'd say it more sacred. I don't do it with everybody now. I treat it with respect and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if it ever gets to a stage where I can literally just go, look at me now, dumped it there. Within 1 second, I don't need to talk about, I don't need to pull the spirit towards me, because bear in mind, I can do trance now and show you my family because they're always with me, or my angel guy, but I can't show you your family until they appear, and then I'll go, oh, he's quite strong, this man, he must have been a big, and I'll start talking about it, and when he's that strong next to me, I know he can step into me and show himself, you know what I mean? Amazing. But if I could do that, if you were a heroin addict, you would come off heroin immediately and go, there's a bigger meaning to life, this guy showed me. It would be such a good thing. Now, I don't know if it ever will get to that stage, but if I can just show one person who's grieving like I was about my dad, and it lifts me out of that, fixes your aura, stops you from being psychically attacked and stuff like that, then that's amazing. It, you know what I mean?
Can I ask you something before we talked about very briefly about manifestation? You mentioned something I was quite interested to ask you. What you were saying, you were very good at manifesting.
So when I was younger, I was very good at manifestation. I thought when I was younger that, because I always believed in God and stuff like that, I was the only one who was christened in my family, and I just thought that was a weird thing. And I thought to myself that, because when I was younger, I was going through trauma and stuff, rather than say, Dad, this is what's wrong with me, I used to pray at night and say, please make this stop, please make this happen, or something like that. And it used to work, and I thought I just had this special connection to God, that's what it was. And there's lots of times where it's happened, but some of the most magical, mad times it's happened, there was once when I was a doorman in Liverpool, and there was a homeless guy called Alan. He had a little dog, and he wasn't a drinker, he wasn't a drug taker, he was just homeless, and I don't know why, but he chose to sleep on the street. And where I worked on a club, there's only two of us there. We used to.
Sorry, could I just ask, because you just mentioned clubman, I'm still going to go back, right? So this thing with the chest, right? I know, connected to that is somebody who was involved with being a loan shark, or they borrowed money, right? And that is also connected to that. So I know it's all there, right? Now, obviously, because you've just mentioned being a bouncer or something else, that's just made me remember again what I was seeing before. But I know there's something going on there.
Well, so, listen more, and maybe at the end we'll be like, that's why this happened.
Right,
But so Alan was a nice guy, and that we spoke. And when I finished my job, I had to go to the little chip shop that was there. I was always hungry, like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'd say, do you want anything? He'd always say no, really, never really ate. And one night he said to me, can you go round the floor of the club and pick up the coins and that and give me them, because you get loads in there. It's a bit embarrassing, but again, it was like a little test. I didn't get the big strong feeling, but I thought, no, I'll do it for him. So we had a little flashlight, and I walked around, picked up 20p's, and sometimes it was like a 5 in it, sometimes it was like a 10, you know, different pound coins and that. And a few people used to laugh at me for that, like the other doorman, you know, they weren't being horribly mean, but they were like, what are you doing that for, you know what I mean? Are you that desperate? And I'd just not answer them. I'd say, well, I want to, because I had a higher purpose than answering news about that, you know.
Yeah.
So then I'd start collecting the money, and I'd give it to him, and he'd be made up. It happened for weeks on end like that. One night, I've collected the money. I must have had about 10 quid in my pocket and all different bits of money. I'll go see Alan in a minute. I wonder if he's there, and I'll get him some chips and try and get him to eat this time.
Yeah.
And I said, all right. And he said, oh, yeah, you finished now? And I said, yeah, I'm just going to the chippy. Do you want anything? And he was like, I'll have £1,000 if you can find it. And I said, oh, yeah, whatever. And I thought, whatever, you know. And I thought, I wish I could. And I was saying as I was walking up to the chippy, the pizza shop, which is just to my left as I was going up, go on, God, if you make me find £1,000 now, I wasn't rich at the time. I was saying, I promise you, test me and I will give him £1,000. I won't even take it. And he tries to give me anything back, I will not give it him. I will not take it, I will give it him. So I've walked up and I just said it quickly in my mind, put it out there, it's gone. As I walked into the pizza shop, no word of a lie, there's like a queue like that going round, there's the front counter. I walked in, there was a pile of money. Before it was plastic notes, it was paper notes. It was clean as day, not scruffy. It was just sat there, and it was about that thick of cash. And I've looked down, I've gone, no one's looking at that. So I leaned down and picked the money up, put it in my pocket. And I thought, And I got this weird feeling in me like, oh my God, son, this has just happened again, hasn't it? And I thought, it didn't even feel it this time. I only just felt it when I seen the money. I thought, that's impossible. And I was thinking, if someone's dropped it, then surely it scatters. So how's it there? You know, so I was trying to work. One thing about me, I learn patterns and stuff, and I like to go deep straight away into whatever's just happened. Multiple answers, multiple outcomes, and find the right one. And I couldn't make sense of it in my head, so I thought, well, it must have happened some other way, you know what I mean? So I'll sit here and Alan's going to be made up in a minute. I'll get myself chips and I'll go, hey, guess what? You fucking... He won't believe me, and I'll tell him about it, and then maybe it'll help him, give him hope, you know what I mean? Wow. That these things can happen. I've never spoken to him about stuff like that before. And then I've sat in the queue and I thought, it'd be my turn. And I'm just happy on eye, just thinking, wow, that is a proper divine intervention. That is weird, that. Yeah. And I was thinking all kinds of stuff. And then there's this couple in front of me, and they had London accents. And I'm listening to things going on, and I'm also listening to these. And in the back of my ear, I can hear this guy saying, I've lost my money, babe, and all that. And she said, I told you, stop showing off, and you have to be the big man. She starts getting dead loud, man. You brought our rent money out thinking you're the big dog's bollocks and all that, and you know, you're an idiot and all that, and that's it, and what are the kids going to do? And I'm hearing this, and I'm thinking in the back of my head, that's his money. So then I knew in my mind and in my soul, my chakra, my solar plexus was lighting up saying, give it him back or give it to Alan. And then I decided, well, God must give me this money, so therefore it's his choice, I'll give it to Alan. But something in my mind said to me, but they'll suffer. Oh. And that was my karma. Mm-hmm. Give it them back or give it him. Mm-hmm. And my brain said to me at the time, it's not my choice. If I give it you, I'll tell you the story about how I found it, what I was going to do with it. If you choose not to give anything to Alan, then that's your karma, you know what I mean? And my karma though is being fair and saying, here's the choice, you make the choice, you know what I mean? Yeah. And he gave him 20 quid and he was made up, and I gave him the coins and he was made up, and they both went home happy, and he couldn't believe it. The guy, he went, where did you find it? And I went, it was there. And then he went, what do you mean? He said, I don't even know how it left me pocket. He didn't feel it. He had his hand on it, but then it was gone. Yeah. It was like someone took it out of his pocket.
That's an amazing story.
But that's happened loads of times, that. And now I think, what did you do, David? And I thought about it dead deep, and I thought, what was going on in your mind when you did it? Because if you can do that again and say, make £1,000 a year, you'll get £1,000. I've never been able to do it since, you know what I mean?
No, that's an amazing story.
Done loads of stuff like that where things like that have happened.
That's brilliant.
But I used to think I had this superior connection to God, where now it was just the same as anyone else can do. If you believe enough and you trust enough,
belief is important, isn't it?
And it's for the right reason. You can all
right reasons, definitely. Yeah. I'm with that. That's amazing. Crazy, you know? Very good. Fantastic. Thank you so much for some great stories.
What you've not told us what you want to?
There probably is 1,000 things, but I can't remember.
You'll have come back then.
Yeah, maybe I'll come back. If it's good enough, we'll come back sometime.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially what happens is obviously with what you're doing is you'll go through periods where you gather even more stories and everything, and it's like, you'll have to watch.
Amazing.
Yeah, there are about 10 more, but it's too long now to go on. Once we start going off on a subject, we go off in a different direction. I've enjoyed it.
This will happen. Yeah. This will happen.
So, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Nice one, Dave.
Thank you.
Nice one, Dave. So, I'm Oscar. While we're on camera.
Yeah.
I'm just going to see if I can get a bit more. What's called? Because I'll be interested to find out where this is going. What's called? Okay. So there's a few things going on there. Those I can feel like. So again, for me, when spirit's trying to come close, one, I feel like almost like light gets stronger, or like almost like that light, but it comes closer to me, right? So as I'm closing my eyes and I'm looking there, and I still want to go back to this thing, right? So straight away as I've closed my eyes, I can see a green grenade, right, with the pin and that kind of thing, right? And so. And also, so as I'm looking at this as well, and I feel like the name like Gary or Jerry or something like that is also relevant. And now, as I'm seeing here now, I can also see like an RAF plane flying in, So so that would even make maybe I want to bring in some kind of old Royal Air Force connection with you or something else. But for me, it's like a high explosion. Someone literally had this explosion, bang, my chest has gone, or some kind of impact, and that's how that's took them over, to the other side, right? So, and again, so let's see where else I can get with it. Okay, so just so you know, so as I'm watching this now, right, there's a few things going on. Okay. There's a few things going on, right? Okay, so here I've got energy coming in around me, I feel like I want to talk to you a little bit about your brother and the whole situation there. Here I can hear David Bowie playing Major Tom, right? And I can hear that all going on, right? I just have to what's it called here, so as the goosebumps coming. Okay, so for me, I feel like I'm making some kind of connection as it's coming closer here. I'd have to acknowledge, around the energy of the brother thing, right? This is what I feel, again. So it's almost like, so someone would be accused of being a chicken or taking the easy way out or something like this. For me, there's a bit of a something I want to talk about or acknowledge there. I don't know if there was a few lies told or a bit of porcupines, or he was the one who told a few lies, what led to something, why he took his own life, and someone said, you fucking chicken, instead of facing the fucking facts, you fucking took these. So that for me, there's a bit of that going on. I feel almost as if this could even be like a grandfather figure who might even be bringing this energy forward. So I think for me, there's something in there where somebody actually died while they were serving in your family, whether they were RAF and they crashed or died in the war and they were blew up by a grenade. There's a whole thing coming in your energy there around you. There'll be a reason as well why I can hear what's called. So as I'm hearing Major Tom, right? So I know for a fact what will happen there is spirits are saying obviously the name Tom could be irrelevant or it'll be, but for me the Major is as well. I wouldn't be surprised if the person who died in the army was ranked. There wouldn't have just been assault. There would have been, that kind of thing. So there'll be normally more than sometimes multiple reasons why I'm told, certain things. Say again, so now I can hear there. So it's in your family, it's like someone saying, look, you've got my fucking medals for fuck's sake, right? So someone in your family there has even got these war medals from this person. I need to talk to you about someone who suffers with diabetes and they can't have sugar around you as well. I feel like I want to jump up and start fucking singing and fucking perform. So that's coming all in your energy around you as well. Again, and I'm still hearing this, here I come to save the day, but I think for me, it's like energy, around you, and spirit are coming to save the day for you. There's a lot happening around you, and it's we're coming, we're on our way, so it's again, so if you're questioning anything, it's don't worry, they're on the way, help is on the way. So in the corner of my eye here now, I can just see flash, 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 flash. So, and I know that's energy trying to come closer to me. Okay, and why I'm trying to bring this energy in here closer to me, I'm also aware of 80s TV. I'm Airwolf and helicopters, and there's a whole thing going on there. So I know there's whether that's basically there's something going on there. But come on, who's this here? Right, I've not told you what somebody right. Okay. RAF, Red Arrows, the aeroplane. There's something fucking big going on there with you as well. But if I'm not getting it, there's still the reason why they keep showing it to me, repeating it. Okay, just coming into your energy there as I was called. I can see Slash from Guns N' Roses, and I'm playing the guitar, and I've got I've got the old smoking and the what's called. I don't know if that would even be reference maybe to your brother energy or something like that, but there's something going on there. Why I would be seeing that as well. I've just heard the words there. Okay, two things going on there. One, I heard the word Star Spangled Banner, right? So then I want to acknowledge that would make me take to America for some reason. But also, as I've just seen that as well, I can also see like a Springer Spaniel dog, what's just coming around me as well there. So like I want to acknowledge that type of dog with the longer ears or whatever. So that's just coming your energy around you. Right, okay, just come over you there. I will need to acknowledge over Alistair, Alison, Ali, there's something there that's just come over you while you sat there. Okay. Would you understand why someone crossed over 4 years ago as well?
Yeah. Do you want feedback on this one?
I'm not asked, to be honest. I'm just telling you what I'm going. It makes no difference.
There's interesting things what you're saying now, which you're thinking of it this way, but there's...
Well, the thing is, it's what will make thing to you. So you can what's called it. I mean, the thing is, like, so what it does is it shows to someone. It's like, look, I'm being filled with feelings, emotions, energy. You know, we're picking up all this stuff around us. I'm just telling you, listen, look, this is what I get. And then afterwards, if you went, fucking nothing, well, there's nothing I can do about it, is there?
I know, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But when you were talking before about Franken, and you said, I got that name and all that, and that's my guide. It's weird how you found me guides, because the guide before Frank was Jerry. And Jerry was an army guy. I don't know what type of army guy he was, but he was. He was one of my strongest guides. I don't know anyone in life called Jerry except that guy. Do you know what I mean? The same with Frank. So it's weird how you put up that. But yeah, my granddad, who's always with me brother as well, I don't know why, but he is. He was in the army, but he was tank regiment. But he could have been he had family in RAF, I don't know, but he was very military.
And the thing is, see, again, so like, look, without piecing it together, for me, something's gains my attention to mention the what's good. I think if you look back on the tape, I say, you look at your granddad who seems to be bringing your brother through, or
which is how he always comes through.
Right, okay, so the links to your guides, like, okay, I actually said it to you after you had mentioned it before, which I hate that, but I was getting frank, I should have said it earlier. Do you know what I mean? The fact that, so I just saw a little boat, and what it's saying to me is I passed over 4 years ago, right? So someone's explaining that to me. Again, so that whole, whether it's you or someone around you who was the performer, but like I said, but I've got to be honest, there's quite a female energy that comes around you, right? Almost like a mom feel, right? But I don't feel strong enough, like I want to tell you what it is yet, but there is a performing, like I want to sing around you as well. So I'm still asking, come closer, tell me more, what do you want me to say to him? Okay, so I feel like someone's just put onto me like a memory. And do you remember when we were kids? We used to have these like polystyrene aeroplanes. What you used to fucking play, and you throw them. It was good, but I feel like that was almost like a brother memory, like as in like playing together with the fucking planes and all this kind of stuff. Okay, because I feel like I'm watching that happen. Like someone's showing me that in their life now.
With a mediumship dancer.
Right. Okay, good as well. So like we've got a bit of like Freddie Mercury coming through, and we've got Mama. Ooh. Right. Okay. So again, whether that's being pulled in that direction, or whether that song's relevant, but I'm being pulled in that direction as well.
That's very interesting.
I will what's the called as well, as I'm sat here, my emotions, again, somebody, whether it was in the spirit world, they really feel like they've let people down here, right? And it's almost like they're look at the state of me, look at that. And it's like they're saying, look, that this is the main reason why I'm doing this now, is because they're saying, look, I'm so sorry. They're saying, I didn't mean it. Okay, and that's why they're coming through, and they're saying, look, I didn't mean to do it.
You know.
Okay, and it's like so from someone did take that, they were thinking right, or they did it for them, and it's just like, look, I'm so sorry, and that's the reason why the reading is okay. They just want to, that's good. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Thank you.
All right, mate.
Yeah, that was my brother that you were talking to.
Is it?
Yeah, you know what's funny as well? You don't know as a medium till you get feedback because you don't know what it means. But the whole Freddie Mercury thing is, I used to laugh at my dad and say, "You look like Freddie Mercury." They go, "What's your fucking mean? I don't look like him." I go, "Yeah, dude, because you had the moustache and he looked exactly like Freddie Mercury." You know what I mean? So I didn't say he looked like this person. You know, you could have said anyone, but to say Freddie Mercury makes my mind go, "That's me dad." You know what I mean? So it's little subtle things like that where to you think that means nothing, but if you
and that's the thing. So like for me as a working, all I can do is just give you everything I'm getting and like apologise, because like this is the thing, you can tell people stuff and if they can't take it, you're like, look, I'm so sorry that I've give you this stuff, but this is all I'm getting. Do you know what I mean? And all I can do is be truthful to what I'm getting for you.
And trusting it. And the more you're doing, the more experience you do,
know what I mean?
the more you start saying things where you go, yes, 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 you know what I mean?
And then like from my point of view, all I want to be is just like truthful.
Yeah.
Do you know, I just want truth. Right, it means a lot to me, you know that. It's like, because I hate the fact that someone would think like, oh, you're just saying this and this and this and you're making it fit. And this is why I said to you before, it's like, if it doesn't feel right for me, I wouldn't, make that, you know what I mean?
I think one thing as a medium we forget is, sometimes I go like, oh, I'll give 20 things to this person and it's just a load of madness, all of it. But what you don't realise is that person who wants to desperately know that there's a real afterlife, you say Freddie Mercury or one or two things and they go, it has to be, that man could have said anything in the whole world, but he said that. So even that alone is hope, is helping, is enough, and we have to take pride in that. You know what I mean? And say, well, we are good enough because, you know what I mean? Even those one or two things are that good that we couldn't have got that in a million years, you know what I mean?
Love it.
Surprise yourself on just that alone and the rest will flow. You know what I mean?
Love it. Love it.
Subscribe.
Yeah. Subscribe. And you won't get a booking because I don't fucking do it.